Good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning to you. Is the migration crisis about to get worse?
Warnings the ECHR could force thousands more Afghans on Britain following the most consequential data leak in modern history.
Well, as the Prime Minister celebrates a new pact with Germany to stem irregular migration, but will anything be done to stop the hundreds of migrants predicted to arrive in small boats just today?
And the longest-serving female MP, Diane Abbott, is suspended from the Labour Party again for doubling down on her controversial comments about racism.
The school coach trip ends in tragedy as police confirm one child has died in a crash in Minehead.
And the government confirms the voting age will be lowered to 16, but could this spell trouble for the Conservatives and Labour?
The annual butterfly count is upon us, but with the species in decline, will it help to save them?
And are teachers the most undervalued workers? Resident doctor strikes are all the talk, but is it time we shifted our attention to showing a bit more love to Britain's teachers?
Beat the record, and if I do, I win £5,000, but I've got to eat 13 burgers in 10 minutes.
The rise of food challenges. We meet one man who tried to eat a record number of burgers. Find out how he got on at 8:20.
Well, it was a feast of football last night and they needed the most dramatic of penalty shootouts to do it, but a winning spot kick by Lucy Bronze meant the Lionesses remain on track for gold. We'll have reaction all morning from Zurich and a dog among the Swans. Snoop buys a stake in the Championship Football Club.
Heavy showers in places again today and the risk of further thunderstorms, but not everywhere will catch one, and particularly across parts of the east and southeast there'll be some hot sunshine around as well. More details coming up with a full forecast later on.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Dawn Neeson, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Well, I thought I'd come back.
Welcome back.
Thank you
so
very
good to
much.
see you looking toned and tanned.
I don't know about toned.
Gorgeous. Well, I saw the swimming pool picture. You did look quite toned.
Oh, there you go, yes.
But water can do funny things.
It can do. Back from the Ellie Costello wedding extravaganza. She's not back till Monday.
No, I know. I've seen a few sneaky pictures, not of the actual main event, but Ellie just looks gorgeous in a bin bag, wouldn't she? She looks absolutely stunning in every single picture I've seen of her. Absolutely gorgeous.
Fantastic. Really, really lovely. I know lots of people are saying, oh, we want to see the pictures. I'd love to share some pictures, but they're not mine to share, are they? So we've got to wait till Mrs. Costello decides she's going to do it herself.
Everything is worth waiting for, so
Yes.
absolutely. No, I can't wait to see them. She's going to be absolutely stunning. I know.
I did that once. I shared someone's wedding photos before.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, 2008. Yeah, I shouldn't have done it. I put it all over Facebook. There you go, everyone. This is where I went, and then I got a call from the angry bride saying, "How dare you do that? They're my pictures."
Oh, yeah, you've got to be careful.
I apologise. I've deleted it.
You've got to be careful. It was beautiful. We're
still friends.
In the south of France. Very, very nice. Tiny little village, and the weather was incredible.
Yeah,
so
and it was
very
a chateau as well, wasn't it?
It was a chateau for the reception and everything. She went all out. But, you know, quite right. It's a big day.
You only do it once.
Only do it once.
Yes. You're really unlucky.
Give over. You've been happily
Morning,
married for
darling.
donkey's years.
Well, funny enough, on the actual day that Ellie got married, it was my wedding anniversary.
Oh,
as well,
really?
So it's a very good day.
How many years was it?
39.
Wow.
Yeah, the big
So
Ruby
6.
coming up next year.
That's fantastic.
I know, yeah.
Fantastic.
Good luck to Ellie and the lovely Gerard. Indeed. Very lucky man.
He certainly is. Right, should we crack on? Because lawyers are reportedly aiming to use the ECHR to force the government to bring tens of thousands of Afghans to the UK after their names were leaked.
Personal details of spies and special forces were included in the leak. Information about more than 100 Britons were also contained in the breach.
Well, all this comes as Sir Keir Starmer praised German plans to strengthen laws to disrupt small boat crossings to the UK by the end of this year. But today, large numbers of small boat crossings are expected because we've got some nice weather.
Former Immigration Minister Kevin Foster joins us now. Kevin, good to see you this morning. Well, it all sounds... Well, this story just carries on giving, but none of it is nice, is it? I mean, you know, now the ECH are involved. I mean, what's happening here?
Yeah, this story keeps on running, and it is a pretty remarkable story, the idea of running a secret immigration route for about 18 months. You know, I was in Parliament for part of that. I didn't have a clue it was happening. And now we see all the potential legal claims that fall out from, you know, the original data leak about 3 years back and how it was handled following that. So, you know, there's probably more to go on this one, sadly. And also, I think there's inevitably going to have to be some sort of inquiry into not just the initial response, what happened, but also the use of a super injunction, which government should only be using in the most extreme of circumstances where literally life and limb is at risk.
What do you make of this claim that we could be forced to take tens of thousands of Afghans into this country as a result of this by the ECHR? I mean, that's going to anger a lot of people, but also don't we have a responsibility if their details have been leaked and it does put them at some sort of risk? We've got to take responsibility, don't we?
Well, I think we've always said that we would take responsibility for those who directly worked with our forces. And let's remember, quite a lot of people have already come. I remember the evacuation we were doing from Kabul back in 2021. So a lot of people who were at great risk have already come. And knowing the type of data the Taliban would have seized in Kabul in 2021 when they took over from the then Afghan government, there is about actually just being on this list doesn't in itself mean you are going to be at risk, but there will obviously be assessments done. Yeah, that's very hard to debate properly, given literally for most of us only really found out about this all this week. I think wider, though, you know, in terms of the situation in Afghanistan, it was a reminder that we were there for about 20 years, and when we pulled out, you know, it wasn't going to be the end of the commitment there, particularly those who'd hoped for a better lifestyle, you know, women who'd hoped to better go to school and make their own choices about their life, and that now the Taliban's back in charge, and those clearly are not possible.
Kevin, I think no one would disagree that we do owe a huge debt to the people that did help the British forces while we were out there, not just the translators, but the drivers, the cooks, everybody that was involved in the British forces, and their lives are at risk. However, there are lots of people on this list that we don't know even who they are or what reasons there are for wanting to come over, yet ostensibly to get away from the Taliban. But there is also a risk that we are letting some quite dangerous people into this country.
Yeah, absolutely, Dawn. You know, Afghanistan is a country that's been war-torn for the best part of 3 to 4 decades. So there are clear risks there. Not everyone on that list should be given a pass to the UK. And ultimately, you know, we have to look out for our own security. If there's suspicions of people who would do harm here, then that risk has to outweigh the risk of them, for example, what may or may not happen due to them being on on this list or not. So, this shouldn't just be a free pass to the UK. And also on things like the ECHR, we have to watch that people don't try and extend ECHR rights to the entire world. That is not what they were meant for. And I've got my own views on probably ended up leaving the ECHR. But whilst we're still in it, we can't, there are people living difficult lives around the whole world. The UK cannot be responsible for every one of them.
OK. Kevin Foster, thank you very much indeed. Well, here on the home front, Mother of the House, Diane Abbott, has been suspended from the Labour Party for a second time. 4 MPs have also had their whip removed before Parliament breaks up for the summer. Let's talk to political commentator Theo Usherwood.
Good morning.
Morning. I mean, what do you make of this? I saw some analysis saying, really, because of what Diane Abbott has said in an interview which only has recently come to light, where she sort of doubled down on what she'd said first time around when she was suspended, the Labour Party had no choice but to suspend her.
Yeah, I think that's right. They obviously looked at the comments. So it's worth just going back to the original letter to the Observer newspaper in 2023, and she argued in that letter that Jewish people, travellers, didn't suffer racism, they suffered from extreme prejudice, similar to the sort of bullying you would get if you were a redhead. And that isn't the same it wasn't even racism in her in that letter, which she apologised.
And she sort of said it was not the right, they'd been sent in the wrong version or something.
And she apologised and she withdrew the comments unreservedly. Nevertheless, she was suspended from the Labour Party. Then fast forward to suspended. She had the whip suspended. Apologies. Fast forward to last year's general election, and Labour had hoped to simply bump her up to the House of Lords, give her a peerage, and she said, "Well, actually, I don't want to go to the House of Lords. I want to be an MP." And they didn't want her to be a Labour MP. And of course, they knew she's very popular over in East London in Hackney, and she has a strong support within her constituency. And they suddenly realised that they were going to lose the seat if she stood as an independent against another Labour candidate. So they gave her the whip back and she stood as a Labour MP, and she's been in the House of Commons. And if you look at PMQs and other debates, she's been a thorn in the side of the Prime Minister and of the government. Now she went and did this interview, and it was clearly goading Keir Starmer, because he's already suspended the whip from 4 Labour MPs, where she said, in effect, sorry, not sorry, I stand by the original comments that I made. And it's a challenge to the Labour leadership authority, and so they've decided to suspend her from the party.
She did change her language slightly, though. She said she referred to anti-Semitism and what have you as a form of racism.
As racism. So you're quite right to point that out. So she, in that interview, the most recent interview, she did say that it was racism, but she stood by the original comments that it was different. And I think for many, for Keir Starmer, who wants to be seen to be cleaning up the Labour Party, the history with anti-Semitism under Jeremy Corbyn, this was a step too far. I think the danger, though, for Keir Starmer in taking this particular course of action, or the Labour leadership in the Labour hierarchy in taking this particular course of action, is that already we've got the formation, whether it turns to be a fully fledged party remains to be seen, of Zara Sultana on the left, Jeremy Corbyn on the left, and there is a danger that starts now to chip away at votes on the left of the Labour Party that become disillusioned with Keir Starmer and the fact that he's trying to cut public spending and so forth.
Do you think Diane was emboldened by the fact that Jeremy Corbyn now has this independent party set up with Zara Sultana? Can you see a time when Diane will join that party?
Well, she's been suspended from the Labour Party. I think she'd like to consider herself as being Labour through and through. But I think if you look to the general election, and obviously there are 4 independent MPs who stood on pro-Palestine tickets, and there are up to 50 potentially who could win seats. I think rather than, in fringe politics, those smaller parties, particularly on the very left or the very right, tend not to do very well. But I think there's a real danger for Keir Starmer now. If this group, whether you're thinking of Jeremy Corbyn, Zara Sultana, Diane Abbott, forming some sort of pact with those independent MPs, forming some sort of pact with the Greens, there is a chunk of the Labour base that could do very well. I'm thinking back, of course, to the Runcorn and Helsby by-election. Reform won that by 6 votes, right? Very, very close. But if you look further down the list, the Greens went and got 2,000 votes, and those would be otherwise Labour voters. And if there can be better organisation on the left, then Keir Starmer has got a headache because of Jeremy Corbyn and others.
All right, Theo, for now, thanks very much indeed.
Yeah. OK, well, time for my favourite part of the day.
Yes, I like this.
Peaceful and quiet.
The Daily Reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello, my name is Marcus Mack. I'm a priest in the Church of England. Jesus said something difficult to unpack and put into practice. He said, "You have heard that it was said, eye for eye and tooth for tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also." First of all, Jesus is not implying pacifism or encouraging us to do away with a judicial system. Proportionate force can still be used to restrain evil, and crimes should still be judicially prosecuted and punished appropriately. Secondly, Jesus is not saying we should be a personal doormat for people to take advantage of us and be trampled on. Rather than this being a call to weakness or turning a blind eye to injustice, this is a call to break the cycle of violence and retaliation when we are personally offended or assaulted. Jesus is saying, absorb the evil, respond with a loving spirit of forgiveness and mercy. This does not come naturally to us, does it? Retaliation, personal retribution, and revenge in our world seems to be the norm, and in some circles, to be expected. Jesus perfectly embodied this spirit of mercy during his life and at the end of his life. While on the cross, he prayed for those who caused him to suffer. "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." This is power to change the world.
Now, it's 6:15. The Prime Minister has said there are no adequate words to acknowledge the death of a child after the fatal school coach crash in Minehead.
21 others were treated in hospital after one child lost their life. The bus was bringing children back from a day trip where the collision happened. MP for Tiverton and Minehead, Rachel Gilmore, spoke to GB News late last night.
I've got 4 children, and it was quite a long time ago that I sent them off with their lunch boxes and on coaches to come home. And it's something that no parent could ever, ever, ever envisage. And I'm very lucky because I was brought up in the constituency that I now represent. So I'm part of that community. And they all call me Rachel. Sometimes when they come into my surgeries, or sometimes when I'm canvassing and they're particularly upset, I give them a cuddle. And what I would say to all the parents, all the staff, all the grandparents, all the families from Minehead today, if I could reach out and give you all a cuddle, I would. This is not about politics. This is about compassion.
It's very well said, I have to say. Let's talk to the former borough commander at London Fire Brigade, Steve Dudney, who joins us now. Steve, I mean, look, it's hard to imagine what anyone personally is going through with all of this, but it must have been incredibly hard for those emergency workers who attended, actually, in what was a very difficult situation.
Good morning. Yeah, I think so. I think it was quite telling that the chief fire officer said that it was a very complex technical rescue. So you can imagine that, unfortunately, the bus ended up on its roof. So it ended up with the superstructure, although reasonably strong, the superstructure would have been crushed. And because you've got the weight of the engine and all of that is now on top. So it would have been, I mean, 21 people were taken to hospital, and he said it was a very complex technical rescue. And what was unusual was for a rural area, they sent 8 fire engines, 60 firefighters. So it would have been extreme from the point of view that it would have been like multiple car crashes. If you imagine when someone's trapped in a car, you've got about 4 seats and you've got firefighters working to cut that roof off. That was made even more complex because the vehicle was upside down, but you had that scenario many times over. So you would have had people there, unfortunately, who were physically trapped by the wreckage. But of course, you always have to remember people who are what we call medically trapped, where their injuries really prevent you from just picking them up and taking them out, and therefore you have to, the paramedics will come along, they'll put them in collars and strap them into beds and all of that. But what they have to do is then you have to make way in that damaged structure, cut that structure away and then prop it up because it's upside down. So it's likely that urban search and rescue teams were brought in from the fire service to really prop that structure up once the regular firefighters have started cutting away with the hydraulic cutting equipment, commonly known as the jaws of life. But there is a range of equipment that falls under that generic term that will be used to make access into that vehicle.
Steve, looking at the pictures on our screen just now, obviously the typical of that area, the roads are very narrow, but the weather conditions look good. We understand 2 children were taken to hospital by helicopter as well. Do we have any more information about what actually happened?
No, I've heard no more than you that it was an accident and they're investigating the cause. They said it was a collision, so that might be telling, but I wouldn't want to speculate as to the cause at this point.
I tell you what struck me in all of this is, as I say, that we've got to focus on the tragedy, but also on the bravery. We understand the car following the boss was actually being driven by an off-duty fire officer, who obviously immediately jumped out and assisted. That's incredibly brave and may well have saved lives.
So I hear, yeah, that is. I guess like everyone else, whether you're a paramedic, a police officer or a firefighter, you've got that call to duty. Sometimes it's better to just go off and get help, and I would hope that he would have called the services before jumping in. But certainly, yeah, he would have been able to just gather some information, help the walking wounded, get people away, and then more likely gather information for oncoming people who was trapped where they were trapped. Hopefully turn off the fuel supply, because there's a big switch on the back of a bus that does that. Just really start to make things better, because you can't do a lot on your own without equipment, but you can certainly begin to unpick the mess in terms of what needs to be done.
Steve, really good to see you this morning. Appreciate it. Thank you.
It's just it's just so kids going off for a day trip, and it's just incredibly sad that they just don't come home, and the trauma of the parents getting that phone call, just unbelievable.
Doesn't bear thinking about, does it?
No, it really doesn't. So thoughts with all those families involved this morning in that horrible accident.
Right, let's turn our attention to something which hopefully will be a little bit brighter, and that's the weather with Alex Deakin.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Again today, quite a mix of weather. Hot with hazy sunshine across East Anglia and the southeast. Elsewhere, yes, some sunshine, but also some heavy downpours. A drab start for southwest Scotland, parts of West Wales with some rain and drizzle here, and then we'll see showers developing as we go through the morning. Some heavy ones this afternoon over Northern Ireland, perhaps western Scotland and also northeast England. And here we do have a Met Office thunderstorm warning in place. East Anglia in the southeast, only the small chance of catching a downpour. Generally, it's sunny here and hot, highs of 30 Celsius. Not as hot elsewhere. Still, for many, feeling quite humid. The southeast, as I say, has the chance of catching an afternoon downpour, but mostly set fair here, as it is across the southwest. Could just be fairly cloudy here. Some sunshine developing across Wales. It's northeast England where we've got the greatest risk of thunderstorms that could cause some disruption with large hail and hefty downpours of rain. Same goes for Northern Ireland. No warning here at the moment, but still some potentially very heavy showers coming through, and a scattering of showers likely across Scotland through the day, with maybe some along those easternmost coasts. The heavy showers over northeast England should fade, but then we look down to the south. We're importing further hefty downpours coming across the Channel, further thundery showers likely to develop through the early hours across the southeast as temperatures hold up maybe as high as 20 Celsius. A more comfortable night for sleeping further north and west, but still very humid air across these eastern counties, generating further thunderstorms on Saturday. Should be tracking northwards into parts of northern England, across the Midlands as well. The storms tomorrow could generate large hailstones, gusty wind, as well as the potential for flooding. Maybe getting into southern Scotland, parts of North Wales at times. Further west, many places will be dry. Temperatures not as high tomorrow. Still quite humid, though, with temperatures in the low 20s.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello, welcome back. It is 6:23 and there's loads more still to come on the show, including butterflies. Yes, butterfly fly away. We're talking why there are fewer of the insects than ever before and what we can all do to help butterflies flourish. That's all next. This is GB News with Stephen and Dawn.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's 6:27 now. There's still plenty of time to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize so far, which is £54,321.
Yes, it's our biggest one today, and here's all the details to make it yours.
This is your chance to enjoy luxury this summer. It's our biggest cash prize to date, an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash has to be won. What would you do with that? With all of that cash, you could just chill out, treat yourself, and indulge in the finer things in life, somewhere like here, Downhall Hotel and Spa. You really could win the cash giveaway of the summer. Go on, treat yourself.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, best of luck to you. Now, did you know there are fewer butterflies fluttering about every year? They are on the decline.
But there is something you can do to help. Between now and the beginning of August, the big butterfly count is taking place.
Well, to find out exactly what it is and how to take part, let's talk to environmental journalist Howard Leader. Morning, Howard. First and foremost, why does it matter that we're seeing fewer and fewer butterflies?
Well, it matters because butterflies and moths are what are known to science as an indicator species. So surveying butterflies and moths every year not only tells science about the health of those insect populations, but their short life cycles means that you can monitor over time how they respond to environmental change and changes to their habitats and produce results quite quickly that indicate more broadly the health of our wider ecology and countryside. It's worth remembering that Britain is really facing something of a nature crisis. We are among the bottom of the world league table of countries for biodiversity loss. 1 in 6 of all of our wildlife species in Britain is now under threat of extinction. And when it comes to butterflies and moths, the situation is just as bad. 1976 was the point at which annual surveys of butterflies and moths started. And since that time, we've seen an 80% decrease in butterfly numbers in this country and about a 30% decrease in moths. So this event, the big butterfly count, really does matter to science, and it matters to us as citizens of this country living within an ecosystem.
And how do we get involved? I mean, sort of like many of us, I mean, I live in a flat in East London. What can I do to help?
Everybody can get involved in this. So the structure of the survey is quite simple. Butterfly Conservation, the environmental group that is running this, they have a fantastic website. You can just go on there, download an app, which will help you with a survey, and you can also download I've got a paper version here, but a butterfly recognition chart, which will help you identify the butterflies you're seeing. And what they say is, find a nice spot to stand and survey. Now, if you live in the centre of a city, for example, it might be a park, it could be a railway embankment, which you can see from a roadside that's got long grass, it could be an uncut grass verge, it could be your own balcony where you can see the plants on your balcony and plants planted around. And spend 15 minutes on a sunny day just counting the butterflies that you see, and then enter those records at the click of a button, really. It's a great thing, actually, for the summer because it falls right in the middle of the summer holidays, and children love getting involved in this. So if you're looking after, if you're a parent or a grandparent looking after children, this is all free to take part in. And kids really like to help identify the butterflies and then enter those records. And the fun bit for them is that once that record has been sent in, they can log on to an interactive national map. And enlarge it and enlarge it to find the place where they did their survey, and there'll be a pin there, and they can click on that pin and see their own record, and they can also check out what their friends have done as well. So that's the kind of fun bit. But the importance of this is that all of this data is incredibly valuable to scientists trying to assess the health of our natural ecology, and in a sense, let's talk about numbers. Last year, there were nearly 100,000 records submitted by citizen scientists up and down the country. As a percentage of our population, it sounds like a lot of records, but it's quite small, really. But what science really needs is that weight of numbers, not only to understand the trends, but also to give them the scientific basis to present that through wildlife organisations to planners and policymakers, and perhaps hold them to account a bit over the decisions that they're making that may affect our environment, or indeed work with them to ensure that we're integrating consideration for nature within all of our planning and development.
Yeah, we certainly need to do something about it, don't we? Howard, really good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love that. It's also great to get kids out and about, even if you do live in a city, out into the local parks. And Howard mentioned railway embankments there, and especially if you've got Buddleia, I think that's really good, for butterflies as well. Just get involved. I mean, I still think that every butterfly is a cabbage white, because that's all I ever see.
Yeah, but
they're not, are they?
No, they're not. No, but it isn't. We can't afford to lose our insects.
No, that's it.
Pollination and all the rest of it. Otherwise, we'll all go to pot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it's good stuff. However, if you can't sit and watch us talking about butterflies. If you have to go to work or travel to school, here is a traffic and travel update. But don't forget, you can take us with you on the radio. There's no escape.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Travellers on the M74 southbound at Junction 3 on slip face closures due to overnight roadworks, with a diversion causing extended travel times. On the A55 westbound, a lane is closed between Junction 18 at Llandudno Junction and Junction 17 at Conwy Morpher for maintenance. The A414 westbound in Hertfordshire is entirely closed following a police incident, expected to clear by 7:15 this morning. Please plan accordingly to avoid unnecessary delays. And on the trains, disruptions at Sheffield affect cross-country and East Midlands railway services. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
All right, still to come for you. Aidan has all the sport. That's in just a couple of minutes.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date. Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
And
say...
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Aidan's here with all the sport. Good morning.
Good morning to you both.
Aidan. Can I just read this out first? Because this is Susan. Good morning, Susan. She says, good morning, everyone. What about those Lionesses? Come on, England.
Yes, look, fantastic result last night. Not a vintage performance. They were really in trouble early on in the match, in the game. Sweden, quite a fancied side, a strong midfield, good wingers as well. They wiped the floor with Germany in the group stage by 4-1. So in fine fettle going into this match. England certainly would see them as a tricky opponent. And they were down 2-0 inside 25 minutes, and they were looked abject in the first half, it has to be said, England. But they turned things around in the second half. A couple of changes off the bench. Michelle Adjumang and Chloe Kelly, who, of course, won the Euros 3 years ago at Wembley against Germany. QPR fan as well, I might add. And, look, got it to 2-2 unexpectedly. I think 11 minutes to go, they got the equaliser. Nothing much happened in extra time. England did weather a bit of a storm. They had their goal peppered, but it was all about the penalty shootout. I have to say, it was one of the most atrocious penalty shootouts I've ever seen. 9 penalties out of 14 were missed. England prevailed, though. In the end, it was a save by Hannah Hampson. So it wasn't a save by Hannah Hampson. She did save some penalties, but it was actually the ball went over the bar when the Swedish teenager stepped up. But prior to that, Lucy Bronze had given them victory. But should we hear from Serena Wigman now in the press conference? Let's have a listen and see what she had to say.
That's a quality that's so strong from this team, that togetherness and fighting back and not playing well, but sticking together. That shows so much resilience. And then also with changing the picture, bringing other players in, they, you know, like Michelle, Chloe, they bring some different things to the game. And Bet, of course, that really helped. That really helped the team in that moment. But also, Sweden at that moment had to had to adapt to some different things we did, and before they could have adapted, it was 2-2. So that's so powerful, this team, and then that luck. Yeah, today I thought about 3 times we were out.
My phone's going off in my pocket. Sorry.
Tom will go take it now. Thank you.
I've got a FaceTime. Hold on. I'm in a presser. Paul, I'm in a presser. Look. I've got to go. I'll call you back. Look. I'll call you back.
Don't worry about the presser.
Say that again.
Don't worry about the presser in the semis.
I'll call you back. Sorry. I never answer my phone and it was just going off in my pocket, so I do apologise for that.
Oh, good on her.
So that's Hannah Hampson. Similar thing happened to me about 20 years ago. I was at Arsenal, and lots of the reporters put their phones in front of the great Thierry Henry, and he was talking away, and someone rang. It wasn't my phone, and he actually picked up and answered me. He goes, "Yeah, you have to go away. You have to go away because I'm doing Thierry Henry at the moment." And it was howls of laughter.
At least do it in Thierry Henry's accent.
Yeah, but listen, they're through. I'll practice it later, maybe later on. But look, they're through to the semi-final against Italy, back in Geneva on Tuesday at 8 o'clock.
All right. Can we talk Snoop Dogg? Because what's he got to do with sport?
Well, actually, to be fair, the US rapper with, I think, 89 million followers on Insta, another 20 million on X, so in excess of 100 million followers on social media. He's 53 years old. He has actually aligned himself with Celtic in the past. He said he would be interested in opening a hot dog van outside there for some reason. Not sure quite why he said that. But he's got involved with Swansea City at the Championship yesterday. They want to boost their revenue. They want to boost their reach, if you like. And under the profit and sustainability rules, Stephen, unless you increase your revenue, you can only spend as much as you generate under the current rules. So it's a way of... They want to copy the Wrexham model, quite honestly. And both teams in the same division this year. And he says that he likes the underdog story. Double G, I imagine that would be underdog.
Yeah.
And he launched the home kit as well a few days ago. But we've got some video of him now talking about his investment into Swansea City.
One team, the underdogs. A team that feels like me. That reels like me. I'm talking about Swansea City. Yeah, baby. I'm not a player. I'm an owner. Swansea City. We coming to a hood near you. Big Snoop Dogg. Swansea City, baby. Let's go.
That may be the oddest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, look, who knows? It could lead to a Netflix documentary, couldn't it?
Oh, God.
But look, he is putting his own money in, apparently. We don't know quite how much at this stage. Luka Modric is already part of the ownership group. And who knows, with the Championship season starting just a few weeks from now, it might give them the boost they need. They've been out of the Premier League since 2018 now.
Oh, well, give best of luck to them.
Surreal, absolutely surreal, brilliant. I absolutely love it, I really do. We have to wrap it up now.
Oh, yeah.
We're on form today, I tell you, all of us.
All right, thank you very much indeed.
OK, it's still to come. We're going through the papers. But first, for anyone heading off abroad, yes, lucky you, this is the European weather forecast for you.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Lots of blue skies and strong hot sunshine around the Mediterranean at the moment. There's going to be a bit of a breeze blowing, however, this weekend, especially for Crete and Cyprus. Maybe 1 or 2 showers inland across Turkey, but again, most of the coast's dry and sunny. Same goes for Italy and much of southern Spain, along with the Balearics and the Canaries. Also set fair. Temperatures in Tenerife close to 30 Celsius. We'll have highs here of 29 for the next few days and similar temperatures in Barcelona.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Camilla Tominey. This is GB News, Britain's election channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
And Tom, look what I received this morning.
This is so sweet. Oh!
Isn't that cute? From one of our viewers and listeners. A little, I think it's homemade.
Shall I hold it up?
Yeah, you hold it up. And a little tiny matching hat as well, which is very cute. Goes up here. So there you go, a little matching hat. And also a lovely little blanket as well. Wow. This is from Judith from Leeds, who wrote me a lovely little letter, and to Patrick as well, wishing us well, saying that she loves watching our shows, and I hope we enjoy this little outfit. So there you go.
It's like your little baby is with us already.
So yes, Judith, I hope you're watching, because thank you very much indeed. It's really sweet of you to send that to me. It took a little while to get to us, but we've got it this morning, so that's so cute.
It's incredible craftsmanship, actually.
I'll make sure to take a little picture when the baby arrives.
Are you sure your baby isn't going to be French?
There's something French about it. It's a good thing I like France, so there you go.
Oui, oui.
That's very cute indeed. I just thought I'd say thank you, because it was a really nice surprise this morning.
Yeah, no, it is actually really, really lovely. It does, I mean...
To bring a tear to your eye, Tom.
Well, we haven't really...
Feeling very emotional.
I was going to say...
New life.
We haven't really mentioned you know, your pregnancy in a little while. And
yeah, after the big reveal. After the big reveal.
You're still with us for a few months more before your due date.
I have to depart, yes.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you've got me for a little longer. We'll see how it goes.
Marvellous
See how
stuff.
it goes. It'll be rolling me in. before I leave this desk.
It'll be a GB baby.
GB News baby. GB baby.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
6:48, let's have a look through the papers with former Labour Minister Bill Rammell and political commentator Theo Usherwood. Good to see you both this morning. Theo, let's start with the Telegraph. And 16-year-olds will be able to vote.
Yes, I think it's a good thing that 16-year-olds can vote. Yeah,
Interesting.
I think it's.
Oh, yeah, Bill's nodding away.
Yeah, I mean,
you both agree on this one.
Sorry.
You know, you can work, you can pay taxes, you can join the army. I think it's probably right that you should vote. But I don't agree. There's a big critique in some of the newspapers. This is being done by Labour to curry votes.
Of course it is.
Well, no. I mean, yes, over 10 years, young people have tended to support the Labour Party, but we're now in government. You know, we're seen as the establishment. I don't think at all there's an automatic read across that 16-year-olds are going to vote for the Labour Party. And the reality is they're probably not going to vote.
Actually, there was a poll recently, wasn't there, Theo, about young men in particular being more likely to vote for reform.
I remember being up with, I was doing an interview with Farage up in Scunthorpe just before the local elections, and it was around sort of school break, you know, school closing time, and all these kids come out of school and they just spot Farage and they all wanted to have their selfies taken with him. They knew who he was. And I was speaking to somebody in his team about it, and I think he's got 1.2, 1.3 million followers now on TikTok. That's more than all of the other MPs combined. And this is a definitive strategy from Reform to try and win younger people, give them a stake. And make them, and you know, Farage did "I'm a Celeb." That's something that's popular with that generation, to try and get them to, you know, to turn around and vote for.
I'm not comfortable with it at all.
Why not?
Because I think 16-year-olds aren't proper. Their certainly political thoughts are not properly formed. I don't think they've got enough life experience to be able to be.
You could say that over lots of people.
Well, you could do. You could do. I mean, there'd be a.
You could say that about a lot of the cabinet.
Wouldn't be that crazy to say you shouldn't be allowed to vote until you're 30, till you actually know what's going on in life. But of course, that's never going to happen. But
there's always been those arguments. You know, when voting was 21, it was brought down to 18, now 16. I think the fact that you can work and pay taxes, you know, you have a stake in society, you ought to have a say in how decisions are made, is probably right.
But nowadays, most 16-year-olds are not working and paying taxes. Most of them are going on because it's a government push to go on to higher and further education.
Yeah, but they can. And you know, a lot of them work in their spare time as well. And I think, you know...
Well, I worked in my spare time when I was 14. Should I have to vote then?
That's an interesting argument, Stephen. No, I think you have to draw the line somewhere. But I still think, if you look at the evidence, they're very unlikely to vote. You know, there's all those polls before the election saying masses of young people will vote for the Labour Party. What, about 30% of them come out and vote?
Yeah, very few of them do vote. Would you have been interested in voting when you were 16?
Yeah, but I'm a sad political anorak.
How about you, Theo?
Yes, I
also a sad
I'm asking the wrong people.
No, but yes, I would. But I think you know, over the years we've seen, you know, policies designed, and you can understand why political parties do this, aimed at the older generations. And there's something about my parents' generation, my grandparents, who came out of the Second World War and recognised the value of voting. They recognised the value of democracy. They saw what fascism looked like certainly my grandparents' generation, during the Second World War, and have always voted just because it is such a privilege to be able to vote. And I think by actually trying to, say to people, children at 16, you have the right to vote, we want to give you that. We want to enfranchise you to have that stake in society. I think that's a good thing. I do appreciate that, at 16 you don't know the way the world works, but I can't see it but being anything but positive overall.
All right, well, let us know what you think on gbnews.com/yours say. Because we're a bit tight for time this hour, Bill, can we have a look at something totally different, which is Donald Trump making Coca-Cola great again?
Yeah, massively overhyped as usual with Trump. My understanding is this is actually legislation that the equivalent of the Food Standards Agency is bringing in, which actually predates the Biden administration. And it's about moving from artificial additives to real sugarcane. And it's the kind of thing that normally Trump would oppose, the nanny states supporting people.
But it's healthier, better for you.
But drinking Coca-Cola full stop is extremely unhealthy. I remember seeing
moderation, everything's okay.
But I remember seeing one of those things on TV, a tooth in a glass of Coca-Cola, and it dissolves.
Well, it does if you leave it in long enough.
Yeah.
But it's good for you if you're feeling unwell. It's just got lots of. Yeah, I was always told to have, glass of
Lucozade
or flat Coke.
When you're our generation, you used to get bottles of Lucozade in the orange crinkly paper, and it was like it's full of sugar. And
I thought Lucozade was just medicine. To be fair, because it's the only time we ever got it.
That's what you used to get when you're in hospital.
But real sugar. What I don't understand with this is why the Americans have been using whatever glucose syrupy stuff is, because we use real sugar cane in the UK version of Coke. Yeah, so we get the proper stuff anyway.
But my understanding is Coke, in the way it's made, varies all over the world.
Yeah.
And it's partly to pitch to local tastes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. I used to have cocaine in it back in the day when it first started.
It did?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Bring that one back?
I don't think so.
Not.
Right, you two, sorry, it's a bit short and sweet. We'll have more next hour. Look forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you. OK, well, it's time for the weather with Alex Deakin.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Again today, quite a mix of weather. Hot with hazy sunshine across East Anglia and the southeast. Elsewhere, yes, some sunshine, but also some heavy downpours. A drab start for southwest Scotland, parts of West Wales with some rain and drizzle here, and then we'll see showers developing as we go through the morning. Some heavy ones this afternoon over Northern Ireland, perhaps western Scotland and also northeast England. And here we do have a Met Office thunderstorm warning in place. East Anglia in the southeast, only the small chance of catching a downpour. Generally, it's sunny here and hot, highs of 30 Celsius. Not as hot elsewhere, but still for many feeling quite humid. The southeast, as I say, has the chance of catching an afternoon downpour, but mostly set fair here, as it is across the southwest. Could just be fairly cloudy here. Some sunshine developing across Wales. It's northeast England where we've got the greatest risk of thunderstorms that could cause some disruption with large hail and hefty downpours of rain. Same goes for Northern Ireland. No warning here at the moment, but still some potentially very heavy showers coming through and a scattering of showers likely across Scotland through the day with maybe some along those easternmost coasts. The heavy showers over northeast England should fade, but then we look down to the south. We're importing further hefty downpours coming across the channel, further thundery showers likely to develop through the early hours across the southeast as temperatures hold up maybe as high as 20 Celsius. A more comfortable night for sleeping further north and west, but still very humid air across these eastern counties, generating further thunderstorms on Saturday. Should be tracking northwards into parts of northern England, across the Midlands as well. The storms tomorrow could generate large hailstones, gusty wind, as well as the potential for flooding. Maybe getting into southern Scotland, parts of North Wales at times. Further west, many places will be dry. Temperatures not as high tomorrow. Still quite humid, though, with temperatures in the low 20s.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. A lane is closed on the A55 westbound between Junction 18 at Llandudno Junction and Junction 17 at Conwy Morpher due to roadworks. In Hertfordshire, the A14 westbound remains closed due to a police incident. Expect delays, with traffic set to resume as normal between 7:45 and 8 this morning. Drivers on the M74 southbound are advised to follow signed diversions due to the Junction 3 on-slip closure for overnight roadworks, potentially causing extended journey times. And on the trains, there are disruptions on cross-country and East Midlands railway services at Sheffield. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash. So make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News. At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Is the migration crisis about to get far worse?
Warnings: the ECHR could force thousands more Afghans on Britain following the most consequential data leak in modern history.
Well, the Prime Minister is celebrating a new pact with Germany to stem what they're calling irregular migration. But will anything be done to stop the hundreds of migrants predicted to arrive in small boats today?
And the longest-serving female MP, Diane Abbott, suspended from the Labour Party again for doubling down on her controversial comments about racism.
A school trip ends in tragedy as police confirm one child has died in a crash in Minehead.
And the government confirms the voting age will be lowered to 16, but could this spell trouble for the Conservatives and Labour?
Now, here's a question for you. Are teachers the most undervalued workers? Resident doctor strikes are all the talk, but is it time we shifted our attention to showing a bit more love to our teachers?
Beat the record, and if I do, I win £5,000, but I've got to eat 13 burgers in 10 minutes.
Oof, the rise of food challenges. We meet one man who attempted to eat a record number of burgers. Find out how he got on just at 8:20.
Good morning. They needed the most dramatic of penalty shootouts to do it, but a winning spot kick by Lucy Bronze meant the Lionesses remain on track for goal. We'll have reaction all morning from Zurich. It was a nervy start to the Open by Rory McIlroy, and a dog among the Swans. Snoop buys a stake in a championship football club.
Heavy showers in places again today and the risk of further thunderstorms, but not everywhere will catch one, and particularly across parts of the east and southeast there'll be some hot sunshine around as well. More details coming up with a full forecast later on.
It's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Dawn Neeson, and this is GB News Breakfast.
The Queen is 78.
Yes, it was her birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
Doesn't she look amazing?
Incredible, really.
She does look amazing.
But she's been snapped. She's in the papers this morning reading a book called The Grey Wolf by Louise Penny. It's a crime novel.
Have you read it? Whodunit.
I like it. I like a whodunit.
I like a crime novel as well. But she's very, very good on... She runs her own book club thing, doesn't she? She's very good on...
Like Richard and Judy.
Like Richard and Judy, yeah. But encouraging people to read and encouraging our literacy amongst younger people. So she does a good thing. She also looks like she's the sort of woman you could go to the pub with and have fun with.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
She looks like she enjoys a good pint.
I have met her. I met her at an event, a few years ago now. But I was really struck by her, actually, because she's had so much stick over the years, and she was really across. It was a diabetes thing, and she was really across the subject. Yeah. And she was very friendly, very charming. I mean, I really liked her, I've got to say.
Well, do you think she will ever get away from the whole Diana thing? And a lot of people will never forgive her for that.
I think she has got away from it, apart from those people who are just diehards, who just refuse to let it go. I think for most people it's just a thing of the past.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, and obviously Harry has called her the wicked stepmother as well, so will she ever forgive him?
Probably not.
Well,
I wouldn't blame her.
I wouldn't, no, either.
But there you go.
But
So
she
happy
looks
birthday
amazing.
to her.
Yes.
Yeah, good on her. I like her. She makes the king happy, so why not?
Well, that's what I like about... what I really like about... Regardless of what happened in the past, she looks after him, she clearly loves him, she supports him, especially during the poor health he's having at the moment. She's always there for him. She makes him laugh. He doesn't laugh that much.
No.
I went northern then, like you, didn't I?
It is good. I'm glad it's rubbing off. About time.
God blimey, I'm starting to talk like you.
Right.
Oh, not going to happen.
You know that, that 7/7 thing, those the documentaries that have been about on the anniversary of that.
Yeah.
And I'm in that quite a lot because I was working that day. I sound really odd on it. I sound very...
Odder than usual?
Very posh. It's like a sort of proper broadcast voice.
Proper newsreader.
Oh, yes, it's lovely.
Back in the 1950s BBC.
Oh, it was really odd.
Were you the first to break it?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. But I sound really odd in it. This is very strange.
Well, it's one of those stories where you really feel like you have to just play it with a completely straight bat. You can't. I mean, it was just...
Yeah, but I didn't need to lose my accent that much.
No, there is that,
probably only learned of it a minute or so before, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, literally. Breaking news like that.
Not something you hang around with, no?
No. It's 10, 15 seconds and you start going with it.
Well, thankfully,
anyway.
I was getting a newspaper out back in the day, and thankfully my accent didn't come into that, but it was just a horror show, and I went to the office and didn't leave.
I was on the way to the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal, for a topping out ceremony. They called me on the way there saying, turn back, go home. It was topping out ceremony, for those who don't know, is when the building reaches its highest point.
Awful.
Anyway.
Awful. Right, shall we move on? Yeah, politics. And lawyers are reportedly looking at using the ECHR to force the government to accept tens of thousands of additional Afghan migrants after their details were leaked.
It was confirmed yesterday that personal details of more than 100 British spies and special forces were also compromised.
That's as Sir Keir Starmer praised German plans to strengthen laws to stem the flow of illegal migration. Today, large numbers of small boat crossings are expected due to, yes, the favourable weather conditions.
Let's talk to political commentator Theo Usherwood. Morning, Theo.
Morning.
I mean, first and foremost, what are we to make of this potential increase in Afghans coming over thanks to the ECHR? I mean, if they are in danger as a result of this data breach, we need to do something about it, don't we? It's just whether this has the potential to be abused.
I think part of the problem is, and I think you've nailed it, Stephen, is that we're talking about up to 100,000 people here being able to come from Afghanistan because they're named, or their family members are named on this particular list. When this list was the original list that was circulated, even the one, when I'm talking about the one that wasn't meant to be circulated, that was looking at are people eligible to come to this country because they've helped British forces in Afghanistan? And therefore, some of those people will not have been eligible to come to this country because there's obviously a question mark over where, the extent to which they'd helped British forces. We know that, there are around 1,000, 1,200 names who help special forces whose lives will be at risk in Afghanistan, and it is quite right that they should be able to come to this country and seek refuge in this country, no doubt about it. But of course the reason, and this is what's going to be argued by the lawyers at Lee Day and others, is that simply by being named, the Taliban aren't going to make any distinction, and therefore their lives will have been simply by being on this list, regardless of whether they helped British forces or worked as translators or interpreters or whatever. They still have the right to come to this country, and that's a lot, and it's a huge cost. It's already £7 billion being set aside, up to £7 billion set aside by Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, last October.
And the story has moved on by British names and British spies being on this list as well now. Yeah,
it's incredibly concerning that those people who work behind the in the shadows to keep this country safe have suddenly been named on this list, and obviously the court came to a view that the super injunction could be lifted, so as the risk is now minimal. I'm not personally in the camp that there is no place for this super injunction. Now, obviously, the court came to a decision that at the time this list was leaked and it was being placed on, parts of it were being placed on Facebook, there was obviously a need to protect those on it. But it is concerning that actually what came out in court was that there were memos from ministers saying, we don't want this to come out because of the political damage that it will cause. So if there is a concern around protecting the names, yes, there is there's legitimate reason for a list. But if it's simply just to save the blushes of ministers because of what has happened, that can't be ever allowed to happen.
No. And this is the problem with this. Sorry, Stephen. This is the problem with this. It's not because we were worried about protecting the lives of Afghan families, particularly the women and girls, as far as I'm concerned. But it was to save political skin. So you were keeping information from the British public at taxpayers' costs, for super injunctions aren't cheap, to save your own political skin. And if you are opening up a route for people to come to this country, that is in the public interest. It's not just tittle-tattle. It is a substantial policy that is being implemented by the government that people have a right to know about. They may not like the policy, they may think the policy is justified, but people have a right to know about it, and it shouldn't be possible to cover it up. But this is in terms of those names and even the existence of the list, the court initially came to a view that actually, if it were to become public and it was to be published, then people's lives would be put in danger. And I've sat in the rooms of parents who have lost children many years ago in Afghanistan. This was a brutal war. People lost their lives, people were injured, and the same Afghan nationals who actually saw an opportunity for women and girls to get education, to have equal rights, who saw a better future for their country. Obviously, it hasn't happened given how the Taliban swept back to power in 2021. Right. But they saw an opportunity with Allied forces, the Americans, the British, coming into Afghanistan, and wanted to seize that and help them. And we can't just turn our back on those individuals. But you're quite right. I think people do have a right to be concerned, a legitimate concern that because of this leak, that simply now, our lawyers are going to argue that it's an open door policy. Indeed. Theo, thank you very much. Theo Washwood there for us.
Now, the White House has revealed President Trump is suffering from a chronic vein condition.
This is after days of speculation regarding photographs that showed bruising on the president's hand.
Well, it comes as President Trump's visit to Scotland later this month has been confirmed. Should we get some details from US political analyst Eric Ham? Morning to you, Eric. Saw the press conference yesterday. It all sounded very, very complicated and all these tests that the president has. But what's the upswing from this? What is the problem?
Well, the president, we know that he has been diagnosed with this disease where there's a blood flow issue from the legs to the heart, and that's what we know about his condition. Now, the bruising on his hand is something that has actually been present for quite some time. It's just taken a while for the press and for the president himself to actually make it public, in fact, that he has been confronted with and has been dealing with this issue.
And so he's over here now. Obviously, it's not affecting his health, the travelling aspect of it.
Well, no, and we have seen the president still keeps a very hectic schedule. We know he loves to post on Truth Social. We know just recently he was meeting with world leaders from the Middle East at the White House. And of course, we know about his trip overseas. And so the president has not actually taken a step back as a result of this. In fact, if we had not known this, you would think that there's nothing wrong with the president, because again, not only does he keep a very healthy schedule, but you know, the president is ubiquitous in that you're constantly seeing him, you're constantly hearing from him, and he's constantly ever present.
Yeah. Meanwhile, what won't help is this constant pressure over the Epstein files. I mean, that pressure seems to be growing at the moment.
It certainly does. In fact, what we're seeing here is some of the biggest voices, some of the biggest megaphones within the MAGA base simply are not letting this go. And we continue to hear from people like Steve Bannon, Elon Musk, Candace Owens, and others, Alex Jones. And quite frankly, this is an issue of the captains and lieutenants, some of the more high-profile people of MAGA, not necessarily your rank and file supporters. Nick Fuentes is actually saying what needs to happen is Republican voters need to walk away from the Republican Party and actually give Donald Trump a massive, massive L heading into the midterm elections like next year. Now, of course, we're talking politics in the United States. So this crisis that we're seeing play out right now, this is literally like a lifetime in politics. Clearly, they will probably be on to something else by the time the midterm elections roll around next year.
Yeah, and Eric, do you think there is more to come on this, and how damaging could it be for Donald Trump?
Well, I think it's unclear. Do we expect there's actually going to be a release of a report from the Department of Justice? We have to remember it was Donald Trump who handpicked his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, and as long as he's saying there's nothing there, and then I don't expect we're going to see anything. But in terms of the clashes that we see within the MAGA base, of course, we know how long people within Donald Trump's orbit can hold grudges. And now now that they've turned their ire towards him, I think the question becomes, how long do they continue to play this out?
OK, well, we'll wait and see on that one. Eric, good to see you. Thank you.
Eric, yeah.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you. It does make you wonder how dangerous Elon Musk is going to be as an enemy.
Well, you need to keep him on side, don't you, basically, with all of this?
But I'd very much keep someone like him on side, OK.
Right, the Prime Minister has said, and I mean quite rightly, there are no adequate words to acknowledge the death of a child after that bus crash in Minehead in which one child was killed. 21 others were taken to hospital yesterday.
The bus was bringing children back from a day trip when the collision happened. MP for Tiverton and Minehead, Rachel Gilmore, spoke to GB News late last night.
I've got 4 children, and it was quite a long time ago that I sent them off with their lunch boxes and on coaches to come home. And it's something that no parent could ever, ever, ever envisage. And I'm very lucky because I was brought up in the constituency that I now represent. So I'm part of that community. And they all call me Rachel. Sometimes when they come into my surgeries, and sometimes when I'm canvassing and they're particularly upset, I give them a cuddle. And what I would say to all the parents, all the staff, all the grandparents, all the families from Minehead today, if I could reach out and give you all a cuddle, I would. This is not about politics. This is about compassion.
Well, our national reporter, Charlie Peters, is here. Morning, Charlie. I mean, do we have any indication as to what caused this?
Well, there is an investigation undergoing now.
It's been reported there was a collision, but there are no details available about what sort of collision or indeed if another vehicle was involved to allow this coach to slide down some 20 feet with 60 to 70 pupils and people on board. And it being a middle school, they're aged about 9 to 10 years old. And the emergency services, speaking at that press conference held late last night, saying that they don't want members of the public to speculate, but they did reveal some information on the immediate response to that incident. We heard from the Fire and Rescue Services representatives saying that actually an off-duty fire and rescue officer had self-mobilised, in effect, to immediately come to the aid of those involved. Dozens of assets from the ambulance services, including 3 air ambulances. We understand that casualties there were taken to the Bristol Royal Infirmary, over 20 ambulances on the ground involved. So a serious emergency services response. And we saw all 3 representatives from all 3 emergency services yesterday in that press conference. But it has been described as extremely difficult circumstances for them to be dealing with, and of course for the community to wake up to this morning. That school will be closed today, and we understand that there will be further guidance issued by the school and its leaders to pupils and families for those who are dealing with what happened yesterday. Because, of course, while many people did walk away from that incident, immediate concern will be about how shaken up they were by what they saw and the experience of being involved in that sort of collision. Details limited, though, as they are at this stage. So plenty of effort being taken by the emergency services in that area.
It was an incredible emergency services response, considering it is quite a rural area, to have so many, and the helicopters as well involved.
Yeah, it's a significant response. We do have a statement from Peter Price-Sankey, who is the director of the coach company Riddlers, which was involved in this incident yesterday, confirming that their 70-seater vehicle was involved in that crash. They said that they'd been liaising with the emergency services and the school, trying to understand the extent of the incident from their side as well. And, you know, Dawn and Stephen, this is every parent's worst nightmare. 9 to 10 years old, they were returning back from Exmoor Zoo and a day at the beach. So the parents would have sent them off to school that morning with packed lunches, and then to have that appalling news yesterday evening must have been extremely distressing. And we did see photos of locals sort of gathering near the scene, undoubtedly trying to learn more information.
Yeah.
Of course. All right, Charlie, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, you meant how excited they would have been. Day out, going to the zoo. Remember zoo trips when I was a little kid? Oh, heartbreaking.
But so we get some answers on that one.
Yeah, indeed.
Right, it's 19 minutes past 7. Let's have a look at the weather.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Again today, quite a mix of weather. Hot with hazy sunshine across East Anglia and the southeast. Elsewhere, yes, some sunshine, but also some heavy downpours. A drab start for southwest Scotland, parts of West Wales with some rain and drizzle here, and then we'll see showers developing as we go through the morning. Some heavy ones this afternoon over Northern Ireland, perhaps western Scotland and also northeast England. And here we do have a Met Office thunderstorm warning in place. East Anglia in the southeast, only the small chance of catching a downpour. Generally, it's sunny here and hot, highs of 30 Celsius. Not as hot elsewhere, but still for many feeling quite humid. The southeast, as I say, has the chance of catching an afternoon downpour, but mostly set fair here, as it is across the southwest. Could just be fairly cloudy here. Some sunshine developing across Wales. It's northeast England where we've got the greatest risk of thunderstorms that could cause some disruption with large hail and hefty downpours of rain. Same goes for Northern Ireland. No warning here at the moment, but still some potentially very heavy showers coming through, and a scattering of showers likely across Scotland through the day, with maybe some along those easternmost coasts. The heavy showers over northeast England should fade, but then we look down to the south. We're importing further hefty downpours coming across the Channel, further thundery showers likely to develop through the early hours across the southeast as temperatures hold up maybe as high as 20 Celsius. A more comfortable night for sleeping further north and west, but still very humid air across these eastern counties, generating further thunderstorms on Saturday. Should be tracking northwards into parts of northern England, across the Midlands as well. The storms tomorrow could generate large hailstones, gusty wind, as well as the potential for flooding. Maybe getting into southern Scotland, parts of North Wales at times. Further west, many places will be dry. Temperatures not as high tomorrow. It's still quite humid, though, with temperatures in the low 20s.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
I do like that hot weather. You're used to it now, aren't you?
Oh, very.
You were having a bit of a.
It was
sizzling
so hot out there, but lovely. I mean, very, very nice.
Yeah, and you look tanned and toned and gorgeous, and I'm afraid stop looking at me like that. He does look tanned and toned, doesn't he? Lots of you saying.
Worries me when you say nice things.
Yeah,
so I'm not used to it.
So I'm just going to stop being nice now. I'm going to be nice to you instead, because there is still time to grab our biggest cash prize today. And you know what it is now. 54321, £54,321. And it could all be yours. Here's the chance of how to do it.
We're here at Down Hall in Essex to enjoy the finer things in life. And it's your chance to win £54,321 in cash. It's like having an extra £1,000 in your bank account each week for a whole year. Which means that you'd be able to indulge in treats whenever you wanted to. That extra cash each week could send some of those day-to-day financial stresses packing this year to enable you to sit back, relax and do nothing. Make sure you don't miss out on our biggest cash giveaway to date.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, best of luck to you. Now, at 7:23 in other news this morning, the government has confirmed the voting age will be reduced from 18 to 16 in time for the next general election. It's only a pledge at this stage. It's going to be introduced as part of the new elections bill, but, you know, the government's got a huge majority, so it'll probably get through. Ministers say it will mean an additional 1.5 million people will be eligible to vote in the next election.
Yesterday evening saw hundreds of protesters gather near a hotel used to house asylum seekers in the Essex town of Epping. Police confirmed one person was arrested on suspicion of a fray, and fireworks were also reportedly set off. The tensions have come after the arrest of an Ethiopian migrant who has been charged with 3 counts of sexual assault. The 38-year-old has denied the offences ahead of a 2-day trial next month at Chelmsford Magistrates Court.
Former Chancellor Jeremy Hunt has spoken to Christopher Hope for his political podcast. Mr Hunt gave his views on whether tax could be increased in the budget this autumn.
I fear she will, yes. I think it's going to be a disastrous thing for the economy if she does, because, you know, what many of us are worried about is that we're going to end up in this doom loop of ever higher taxes and ever lower growth. And, you know, there are lots of divides in British politics, but the Conservative Party, I think, is the only party that really believes that you have to have lower taxes if you want higher growth. Look around the world, America, Asia, all the countries where the economy is, you know, going gangbusters are places which have kept their taxes low. Only in Europe, including the UK, sadly, have we gone in the opposite direction.
Yeah, and you can listen to the full interview with Jeremy Hunt on this week's episode of Chopper's Political Podcast on gbnews.com and all your podcast platforms.
Now, still to come, are teachers the most undervalued workers in Britain? We're going to be debating that in just a moment.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I ever got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
7:29. Now, as schools break up, many teachers have admitted they're worried their summer will be filled with concerns for their students.
2/3 of teachers are worried that children in their schools will go hungry over the summer holidays.
So, with the added care on their shoulders, and it is a lot these days, could teachers be some of the most underappreciated workers in the country?
We are now joined by commentator Aisha Ali Khan and founder of Pimlico Plumbers, Charlie Mullins. Let's come to you first, Aisha. Teachers, they work incredibly hard. They're worried about their kids. Do we undervalue their worth in society?
Morning, everybody. I think yes, absolutely. Every single survey that's been done in the last 20 years or so, teachers have always said that they feel undervalued, unseen, almost underappreciated, but still love the job and still happy to carry on and put in their effort in to help those children.
Charlie, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're definitely undervalued workers, but they're not the most undervalued. I would say police and NHS carers are, but certainly, you know, the teachers are doing a great job, and too much responsibility is being put on them regarding, you know, feeding children and parenting. I mean, this is something that should be, you know, sorted out with parents and not with the teacher.
That's a fair point, Aisha, isn't it? That, I mean, there's not enough parenting going on in the home anymore.
I mean, I never thought I'd say this, Charlie, but I agree, because we are constantly asked to pick up the pieces, whether it comes to feeding children, sorting out uniforms, sorting out the equipment. I mean, some of the schools I teach at, they don't even bring in the pens
and we have to provide everything. And these small things make a huge impact on a child's learning and a child's attitude to learning. If your own family, if your own parents aren't actually investing the time and effort in making sure that you're ready for school, you're ready for learning, then why should the child? And then obviously the teachers have to pick up the slack. And Dawn, you mentioned something about the holidays and how concerned we are. We're always concerned, whether it's are the children going into safe environments? Are they going to be looked after when they're at home? Are they going to be fed? When we had lockdown, one of the biggest concerns was that children were stuck at home and they weren't being fed. And this is something that Marcus Rashford and other people we've talked about continuously, that sometimes the only time the children will ever get a nice hot warm meal is when they come into school, and that would be their only proper meal of the day. And even, look, we talk about children being neglected, but we've also got the concerns for exams as well. Like, have they done well? Are they going to pass? Are they going to do well in their lives?
Jumping in, Aisha, but we're a bit tight for time. I see Charlie's itching to get on.
Okay, well look, no child should go hungry, but it's a parent's responsibility. If they're qualified for free school meals in school, why not give them a voucher out of school so they don't go hungry?
Well, it's the money for that, Charlie, isn't it? It's all about the money.
Well, yeah, but we have the money, don't we? We're just spending it on other people. So, look, it's the government's fault, the welfare's fault. No child should go hungry. But parents, I'm going to just say, they shouldn't be having children if they can't afford them.
All right, there we've got to leave it, you two, but it's good to talk to you both. Thanks very much indeed.
Really strong opinions there, gbnews.com/your say. What do you think about that one? Are teachers undervalued? We've got doctors going on strike, and there's a huge pay rise they had last time round.
I think teachers are undervalued, but that's as a...
But your mum was a teacher, wasn't she? So you had the personal thing as well.
Yeah, I do, but paid not very much money and working... I know people say, well, you have 6 weeks holiday. You don't get 6 weeks holiday. The amount of work that went in, she'd be marking stuff till 9, 10 o'clock at night. It was every night.
However, there is the argument that you go into teaching, you go into the medical profession knowing what those jobs entail.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's about being valued, isn't it? It's not even about saying, pay them a whole load more money. It's about being valued for what you're doing. You are raising a next generation of children.
Important job. What do you think? As I say, gbnews.com/your say, and I will try to read as many out as I possibly can. I know I haven't had time to do so far. But still to come, we are talking to one youngster on why he thinks giving 16-year-olds the vote could end in tears. That's next. Don't go too far. We'll see you soon.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Expect delays on the A55 westbound between Junction 18 Llandudno Junction to Junction 17 Conwy Morpher, where roadworks have resulted in a lane closure. The M74 south at Junction 3 on Slip remains closed to all traffic due to planned maintenance. Follow the signed diversion and anticipate longer journey times. On the M25 anti-clockwise between junctions 13 and 12, a traffic incident has led to lane closures. Congestion persists between junctions 30 and 28. And on the trains, Cross Country and East Midlands Railway report disruptions at Sheffield. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news,
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the
unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, welcome back. The government has confirmed the voting age to be reduced from 18 to 16 in time for the next general election.
Well, the pledge is set to be introduced as part of the new elections bill. Ministers say the changes, if they get passed through the House of Commons, which is looking very likely, will mean 1.5 million more people will be eligible to vote in the next general election.
Hey, but is this a good idea? We're now joined by GB voice Alex Metcalf. Alex, thank you for joining us this morning.
Morning.
Alex, you're 16, I believe, are you?
I'm 20.
You're 20, sorry, you're 20.
I'm just a bit older.
OK. So what do you make of this?
To be honest, I'm not surprised. I think it's quite a deliberate attempt from the Prime Minister to sway more votes his way, to try and sort of preserve his job for the next in the next 5 years when the next election comes up.
Well, why shouldn't 16-year-olds get the vote? If they can basically work at that point. They can join the armed forces at least, even if they're not on the front line. I mean, they can do an awful lot of things. They can pay taxes in this country. So why not vote?
I mean, that's very true. But I mean, the main concern I have is that myself, obviously, I'm 20, so I've just come out of an educational setting. I think the main concern I have is obviously 16 to 18-year-olds are quite young, they're impressionable, but obviously they have to stay in education until they're 18. Now, the issue with that is that we all know quite well that our educational establishment is quite full of quite hard left-wing propaganda and a sort of loathing for any sort of right-wing opinion. I know I've experienced that myself when I was at school and colleges. So I can see, students maybe being ostracised if they have a slightly right-wing opinion in schools. So, we just need to make sure that that's not happening.
But Alex, I mean, that can work in the other way as well, can't it? Because a recent poll did demonstrate that many young men, like yourselves, were indeed more likely to vote for reform than any other party.
Yeah, that's very true. I think they were second in the polls for the 16 and 18-year-old category, which may give Keir Starmer a run for his money potentially. But obviously, I'm just quite concerned that what we need to do really is we need to remove all the Marxist agitators. We need to expose their madness, and we need to remove them in our schools and colleges. And then what we can do is we can let young kids think for themselves, come to their own conclusion on issues, and then they can start voting the way that they feel that they want to vote, rather than being told how to think and told how to vote.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, I see what you're saying, but I mean, the difficulty with that is, and the problem you've got is, you can't actually assume that every teacher, every educational establishment is going along the same lines, can you? I mean, yes, there may be concerns, and there are concerns about some of what is being told and taught, but it's not uniform, is it?
No, but there is, I think, from what I've heard and what I've experienced, there is a sort of a status quo in the educational establishments that, some teachers, some people with influence. I mean, look what happened earlier in the week with that poor 12-year-old girl that got told to go home for wearing the Union Jack dress, So there are a lot more examples of this sort of hardline left-wing agenda that are going around in educational settings rather than a more facts-based approach.
Alex, just finally, if you had been offered the opportunity to vote when you were 16, would you have accepted
it? I think I would have done personally. I can see a lot of young people not turning out, which, you know, is only going to hinder our participation problem, which in itself is a massive problem with people at all ages. And I think these are just going to bolster the numbers, which is actually quite frightening.
All right, Alex, very good to get your thoughts. Thank you very much indeed. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? It is really interesting how it works. I personally, I don't like it.
You're not for it, are you?
I think they're too young. I think they're too young. I don't think they've got enough life experience to be voting at 16.
I think there is that argument, but there are some who argue that many of our politicians don't have an awful lot of real life experience, and you know they are running the country already. So
well, except they are of an age, aren't they? And I mean, look, we might not like some of their backgrounds or the rest of it, but when you hit 30, for example, you have lived life for 30 years in whatever way you've lived it.
Yeah, no, I do think you do need to have had a bit of life experience. But then again, you know, there are some 16-year-olds who are incredibly mature.
Oh, there are.
But there's some 30-year-olds who are incredibly immature.
Well, yeah, but it's about where you draw the line.
Yeah, I know there has to be a law. Well, what do you think? gbnews.com/your say. Are you in favour of 16-year-olds having the vote or not? Let us know, and we'll read as many out as we possibly can. Still to come, though, Bill Ramil and Claire Muldoon are running through the... Give us a wave, people. Thank you very much. Are running through the papers. But first, if you are in search of some holiday sun, here is a forecast for those top European destinations.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Lots of blue skies and strong hot sunshine around the Mediterranean at the moment. There's going to be a bit of a breeze blowing, however, this weekend, especially for Crete and Cyprus. Maybe 1 or 2 showers inland across Turkey, but again, most of the coast's dry and sunny. Same goes for Italy and much of southern Spain, along with the Balearics and the Canaries. Also set fair. Temperatures in Tenerife close to 30 Celsius. We'll have highs here of 29 for the next few days and similar temperatures in Barcelona.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast. At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Welcome to the Bakerloo line, where over the last year, 2 years, every single carriage seems to have been just absolutely covered in graffiti. So we're out this morning to try and do what the Mayor, Sadiq Khan, seemingly can't. Let's clean up the tube. Look, these doors used to be covered in graffiti, but no more. See, it's not impossible.
Not impossible it is, because there is so much that can actually be done. And just a few friends of mine, actually a guy called Joe Reeve, who organised this all, he's from the campaign group Looking for Growth. And he got in touch and said, do I want to come? And I was like, absolutely, I bloomin' do. Because I think we can show some pictures of some of our work, which was just on Sunday morning. And it was actually remarkably simple. What we did was we sprayed the graffiti with sort of anti-graffiti spray, eco-friendly anti-graffiti spray, actually, as it is.
I didn't know the thing.
A bit of scrubbing, and look, it just comes off. I mean, this stuff is not rocket science. A total lack of imagination, a total unwillingness to do anything about the sort of social decay that we're seeing in our cities and the country at the moment. A laziness, a profound laziness and lack of political will at the heart of the governance of London that means that people are just like, oh, the washing machine's broken, we'll just live with this social decay. Well, no, you don't have to live with the social decay. You can come up with new ways to do things. You can give some people some sponges, some water and some graffiti spray and get that stuff off. It's not impossible. Pull your socks up, Sadiq. Do something about it.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Right, time for the papers this morning with broadcaster and journalist Claire Muldoon and former Labour Minister Bill Rammell. Good morning to you both. Claire, can we have a look at 16-year-olds?
Oh, let's.
Who could vote?
Why on earth is this even coming up? You're a mum of 4. I'm a mum of 4. Yeah. My youngest is 21. My eldest is 27. Trying to even getting them engaged in politics is tough enough. Scotland introduced this gerrymandering idea, for want of any better word I cannot find. 16-year-olds can vote. I would have thought that a 16-year-old in this country actually, 1, can tie the shoelaces, 2, use please or thank you, know how to address an envelope with a stamp, and actually know how to vote. I'm quite sure there aren't many of them. Now, the studies have shown that 16-year-olds will have they'll have a bulge point. Oh, yeah, this is great, let's vote. But they are not voting for who they actually think. They're voting for the socio-economic class of their family, because that's the way it goes. It goes no further than that. So they don't actually have any idea of the politics, and I'm sure they don't actually have any idea of first-past-the-post system of getting elected in this country. And I don't use the old adage, and I'm sure you're going to use this, Bill, that isn't it good that we can actually open this up now for discussion and teach them the reasons why we use first-past-the-post instead of proportional representation?
But do you know, Claire, they might actually be voting for their generation, because one of the arguments in favour of this is there has been, for good or ill, and I think for ill, over the last 15 years, been what I would describe as intergenerational unfairness. You know, you look at all the tax and spend decisions. The elderly have been protected, young people have been thrown to war.
Not under Labour, they haven't now.
But you look over a decade and a half, things like the triple lock, other benefit changes, protect the elderly, young people have, for want of a better phrase, been shafted. And in our democracy, politicians react to people who've got the vote.
Oh, they don't, Bill.
No. Look, you know, I was an MP...
They should do.
I was an MP for 13 years, and MPs in the Commons tea room would talk all the time about issues they picked up with their electorates. And, you know, I think in terms of that intergenerational unfairness, actually giving young people the vote, maybe their voices will be heard louder.
18's young. 18 still counts as young people. It's not going to make much of a difference in terms of how politicians view topics if they go from 18 to 16, is it?
No, it's not, but it's an issue of equity and fairness. And, you know, you said, Stephen, you know, you pay taxes, you can join the army. That's probably, if you can do that, it's probably justifiable.
Not many of them are, though, Bill, and that's the key here.
Well, no.
16-year-olds, you know, if you look at the education system, they are sitting their GCSEs at 16.
Yeah.
You see, I mean, I've seen them, I know them, I still know them now. They don't know their head from their elbow. They're just going from one exam to the other, from one lesson to another, sometimes from one party to another. They're far too young, and I think giving them the responsibility of the vote, because let's be honest here, it's your social duty and it's a huge responsibility, and if you don't vote, don't complain. And I don't think we should be giving it to 16-year-olds.
Do you know what you say? They don't know their heads from their elbows. 13 years as an MP, people of all ages, there are people who don't know their heads.
So why don't we then protect it and try and get it up a wee bit more to 18, and let's just have that point there where it's been equitable for us all.
It's a rite of passage.
Bill, talking about elbows and heads, be very careful how I say that. Let's talk about the other big story in politics today, Diane Abbott losing the whip again. What's going on
On
here?
the general suspension of the whips, I'm not convinced because, you know, I was greatly displeased by the welfare rebellion, but I think Keir needs to persuade those MPs to come back. However, on Diane Abbott, I think he's absolutely right. Go back on the history of this. She wrote an appalling letter to the Observer about 18 months ago, basically saying that anti-Semitism was not as important as prejudice against black people. And given
comparable to having a go at people with red hair, for example.
Absolutely. And given the history under Corbyn's atrocious leadership of the Labour Party, where there was a real problem of anti-Semitism, I think that was inexcusable. She recanted, she apologised, and she got the whip back and was allowed to stand as a Labour candidate at the general election. She has now doubled down on that critique, and I think it's wholly inexcusable. And I've actually got a theory. You know, the Corbyn breakaway party, there's only a handful of hard-left MPs. A few of them may go. There's the more pragmatic ones, like John McDonnell, who I disagree with, but I've got more time for, who say, no, stay in the Labour Party. Practically, Diane's been part of that group, but emotionally, she's attached to Corbyn, and I think she's done this deliberately.
Do you? But the interesting thing is, though, which maybe people don't realise, this has only just come out. It was an interview with the BBC. It's only just been released. It was recorded in May. So, I mean, way before any of this new party business came out or anything else.
Yeah, but there's been speculation about the new party for an awful long time. And, you know, there was a whole, well, not a whole phalanx, but, you know, a number of independents at the last general election. And, you know, Diane is many things. She's not stupid. And she must have realised by making these comments now, it would come back to haunt her.
I really feel sorry for Diane Abbott, actually, and I think that Keir Starmer has been behaved abysmally towards her.
Why?
Because, you know, she has maintained her seat. Her electorate, her voters, still vote for her. By all accounts, she is a good MP for her electorate, a good local MP, which are very few and far between. And I think the treatment of Diane Abbott by Sir Keir Starmer...
But what she said was unacceptable originally, wasn't it?
But she can write letters to the Observer. Maybe she was reflecting her own thing, but she has come up against an awful lot of criticism and an awful lot of racism, an awful lot of misogyny, and she has managed her own personal life as well with her son. Things haven't been easy for Diane Abbott at all.
I was like, give her carte blanche to say what she... I mean, because the issue here was she was sanctioned for what she said originally, for which she apologised. She said it was a draft letter and not the final copy. All these sort of things. Whereas now all of that clearly was nonsense because she said it all again.
Well...
So it's like, what do you do if you were suspended first time round and now you've said, actually, I meant it, I actually did mean that, then there's no choice but to suspend her,
I think Diane Abbott is the least of Keir Starmer's worries, and I think if he were to focus more on the economy, more on Rachel Reeves perhaps, more on his cabinet that he's managed to put together, that I don't think IKEA could even have done, I think that it would be better placed for the best of the country going forward than concentrate on taking the whip away from Diane Abbott.
But look back at the history of this. One of the really positive things that Keir did when he became leader of the Labour Party was to root out anti-Semitism within the party, expel Jeremy Corbyn as a result of that. You know, the Jewish community rightly were extraordinarily concerned about what had been happening in the Labour Party. She's now doubled down on it. He couldn't afford not to act.
All right, you two. We've got to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed. We'll see you a little bit later on.
OK, now it's time for the weather with Alex Deakin.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Again today, quite a mix of weather. Hot with hazy sunshine across East Anglia and the southeast. Elsewhere, yes, some sunshine, but also some heavy downpours. A drab start for southwest Scotland, parts of West Wales with some rain and drizzle here, and then we'll see showers developing as we go through the morning. Some heavy ones this afternoon over Northern Ireland, perhaps western Scotland and also northeast England. And here we do have a Met Office thunderstorm warning in place. East Anglia in the southeast, only the small chance of catching a downpour. Generally, it's sunny here and hot, highs of 30 Celsius. Not as hot elsewhere, but still for many feeling quite humid. The southeast, as I say, has the chance of catching an afternoon downpour, but mostly set fair here, as it is across the southwest. Could just be fairly cloudy here. Some sunshine developing across Wales. It's northeast England where we've got the greatest risk of thunderstorms that could cause some disruption with large hail and hefty downpours of rain. Same goes for Northern Ireland. No warning here at the moment, but still some potentially very heavy showers coming through, and a scattering of showers likely across Scotland through the day, with maybe some along those easternmost coasts. The heavy showers over northeast England should fade, but then we look down to the south. We're importing further hefty downpours coming across the Channel, further thundery showers likely to develop through the early hours across the southeast as temperatures hold up maybe as high as 20 Celsius. A more comfortable night for sleeping further north and west, but still very humid air across these eastern counties, generating further thunderstorms on Saturday. Should be tracking northwards into parts of northern England, across the Midlands as well. The storms tomorrow could generate large hailstones, gusty wind, as well as the potential for flooding. Maybe getting into southern Scotland, parts of North Wales at times. Further west, many places will be dry. Temperatures not as high tomorrow. Still quite humid, though, with temperatures in the low 20s.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M25 anti-clockwise through Windsor and Maidenhead, between junctions 13 and 12, faces significant delays due to a collision. 2 lanes are closed, causing 50-minute delays. Normal conditions are expected by 9:30. The A55 has lane closures from junction 18 at Llandudno Junction to 17 at Conwy Morpher due to roadworks. The M74 southbound on-slip at junction 3 is inaccessible due to overnight work. Drivers should follow diversions and anticipate extended travel times. And on the trains, Cross Country and East Midlands Railway face disruption at Sheffield. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though. I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Is the migration crisis going to get worse?
Warnings that the ECHR could force thousands more Afghans on Britain following the most consequential data leak in modern history.
And just to add some fuel to the fire, hundreds of migrants are predicted to arrive by small boat today. We'll bring you footage from Dover this morning.
The longest-serving female MP, Diane Abbott, is suspended from the Labour Party again for doubling down on her controversial comments about racism.
This Labour leadership wants me out. That's what Diane Abbott is saying in response. Could she be tempted to join a new party with her old friend, Jeremy Corbyn?
A school coach trip ends in tragedy as police confirm one child has died in the crash in Minehead.
Well, over 20 ambulances responded with a significant emergency services action yesterday in Somerset as the authorities begin to investigate what caused this appalling scene.
And the government confirms the voting age will be lowered to 16, but could this spell trouble for the Conservatives and for Labour?
Beat the record, and if I do, I win £5,000, but I've got to eat 13 burgers in 10 minutes.
We're going to be looking at the rise of food challenges, and we meet one man who tried to eat a record number of burgers. Find out how he got on at 8:20.
And it's a Friday, so the X Factor runner-up on the first season ever is back with new music. Be sure not to miss Andy Abraham here on Breakfast at 9:15.
They needed the most dramatic of penalty shootouts to do it, but a winning spot kick by Lucy Bronze meant the Lionesses remained on track for gold. We'll have the reaction from Zurich. It was a nervy start to the Open in Portrush by Rory McIlroy, and a dog among the Swans. Snoop buys a stake in a Championship football club.
Heavy showers in places again today and the risk of further thunderstorms, but not everywhere will catch one, and particularly across parts of the east and southeast, there'll be some hot sunshine around as well. More details coming up with a full forecast later on.
It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Dawn Neeson, and this is GB News Breakfast.
There's a great piece of technology that's come up for grabs. Well, it's been given to a museum. It's, you know, I love my tech.
He does love his tech.
I love my...
Sitting here is hard work.
It's terrifying. This is the machine that helped crunch the numbers for the moon landings, right? The very first moon landing. And you think of all the tech and all the stuff Elon Musk does with SpaceX and all that now. And this is basically like an old-fashioned till, you know, they used to have in the corner shops. It's called a Facet Model LX calculator, and it's been donated to National Museums Scotland. And you look at it, and it's just a little mechanical thing with about 10 buttons on. And that was what they used to calculate all these incredibly complex numbers.
Honestly, I've literally got no idea what you've just said.
No. There's more technology in a pocket calculator now than there was on any of the stuff in an Apollo mission. And they still did it. It's incredible.
It is incredible, but my eye was drawn to that page by the headline underneath it, to be honest with you.
Yes, which is about Uranus.
Being too hot to handle.
So there you go.
It's a tabloid. But
it's a tabloid, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Uranus too hot to handle, which actually means that it's meant to be about minus 240 Celsius, they thought. It is actually very slightly warmer than that.
Yeah, but you are a space geek.
I love it all.
A tech geek, and frankly, just a geek, to be honest.
Yeah, hey, geek is cool now.
Yeah, evidently.
It's back in, yeah.
These mornings really fly past.
Oh, you love it. What are you talking about?
I'm no geek.
Yeah, you're not into all that techie stuff.
I've been called a geek so many times in my life, you know.
But you're a sports geek.
The sports geek is a better thing, though, maybe. But you're also post... It's geekism, sorry, is that geekism?
Yeah, that is geekism. Well, there's nothing wrong with liking a bit of tech and all that and space and...
Well, it is the way forward, to be honest with you.
See, look at Elon Musk as a geek and look at everything he's achieving with all his companies. Fantastic.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
Yeah, and they're both completely sane.
Yeah, but I don't know, you've got to be slightly nutty to be that much of a genius. really. I mean, basically.
Yeah, no, there is that. Yeah, there's a fine line, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, between geek and genius.
All right, let's move on, should we?
Yet?
I'm not in the genius bracket, sadly. I don't think that's going to happen for me.
I'd agree with you for once.
Should we talk politics? There's a lot to get through at the moment. All this stuff about the ECHR, Afghan refugees with a data leak, voting for 16-year-olds, all sorts of stuff going on. Let's talk to the Shadow Secretary of State for Energy Security and Net Zero, Claire Coutinho. Good morning to you. Can we start, because it is still very important, the data leak, which of course happened under the last government, which was covered up, and it now looks like the ECHR could force the UK to take tens of thousands of Afghans into this country. Is that the right thing to do? Because do we know how many of these people are actually in any real danger from this? Should we just take everybody on board and say it's our responsibility? What should we do?
I think the leak was absolutely catastrophic, and how you could send spreadsheets around with no controls with that kind of sensitive information needs to be looked at. In terms of the ECHR forcing us to take people, that is something I really worry about, because what we've seen is the ECHR used repeatedly to keep people in this country who clearly pose a threat to the British public because they, either have committed like a violent crime or a sex offender crime. And I think that's what's really worrying. I think you need to have a sensible asylum system. Of course, if you look at, I think Johnny Mercer has been very clear. There are some people who worked very closely with us, who were special forces, who were part of our wider intelligence network. And I think where this mistake has put them at risk, I think it's important we do look after people for your wider ability to protect national security. But the idea that you could have this lawfare with the ECHR and people that we don't know a lot about, who might not have helped us very much, who might be a risk to the country, we can be forced to take them, I think is wrong. And that's why, in terms of our immigration approach, we've said that we would disapply the Human Rights Act from immigration. And we are having this commission at the moment, which is coming back in the autumn, to look at the role of the ECHR.
Claire, this is a massive cock-up followed by a massive cover-up, and the cover-up paid for by taxpayers' money. Do you think that the Conservative Party owe voters an apology for what's happened? We haven't really heard anything, and heads haven't rolled over this.
I mean, I think that is extraordinary that there's not been more accountability, particularly if you look at what happened. It was a spreadsheet that was sent with no controls, which had this incredibly sensitive information. And I think one of the things that I've talked about in the past, I think it's really important, is that there is just greater accountability in our system, particularly with the civil service as well. I think many ministers will be familiar with something that hasn't worked well, particularly around data. I could talk to you about energy. In my department, I found we didn't have an accurate cost of energy. I started that work because it's really important when you think about bringing down bills that we know what the price of different energy sources are. So yes, I do think all of that needs to be looked at. I do understand why there was an initial super injunction to protect the lives, as we've seen, of British personnel as well, often with very sensitive information. And I think that is important because you need to be able to protect the security of the country, and our intelligence services are part of that.
Can we talk about migration in general? The Prime Minister's touting this deal done with Germany to try and prevent illegal migrants coming here, irregular, I think he called them. Is this something the Conservatives should have done? I mean, I have to say, looking at it, I'm a little bit unclear as to quite what impact it will have.
I think that is the question, is what real-world impact will this have? And actually what you've seen under Labour is that boat crossings are up, I think, by 60% now, year on year. So this situation is completely out of control. And like I said, I think the most important thing in the policy that we set out is that you have to disapply the Human Rights Act from immigration so that we can deport people. And for people who are coming here illegally, there's got to be that deterrent that if they come here illegally, then they can be sent back or sent somewhere else which is safe.
Can we just have a quick reaction from you, Claire, about the voting age and whether it should be lowered to 16? We have heard that the Conservatives don't support it. What do you think of it?
It seems to me quite a cynical policy, actually. I thought the really stark thing from yesterday is there was a poll, and that 16 to 17-year-olds, I think the majority of them didn't want to have the right to vote. I'm a new mum, and so I might be coming at it from this perspective, but it's exam season. You usually get elections in May, June, July, and I'm not sure that I would want to be piling on added pressure to be involved in politics for 16 to 17-year-olds. That being said, I do like the idea of political parties fighting for younger votes. I think that's a good thing. That's why we're setting out the energy policy, which we are today, which is about expanding nuclear power, providing cheaper energy, cutting bills, good for growth, good for jobs. That I think is a good thing to be, and also nuclear power, by the way, 60 years. So it's not just 60-year-olds, it's the next generation of 16-year-olds that it would benefit. And I think it is good for politicians to be fighting for those younger voters, but I'm afraid I don't think it's right to be piling onto them at that age.
In terms of that nuclear power thing, what you're announcing today, I mean, these plans to strip out a lot of bureaucracy, remove barriers to building nuclear power, and we know it's a sustainable and sort of generally clean way to produce electricity. I mean, the problem is it's all 10 years too late, isn't it? Because whatever happens now, it's going to be at least 10 years before it all comes online.
When we came into power with the energy brief, which was 2015, there'd been no new nuclear starts for decades. And guess who came before us? It was Ed Davey and Ed Miliband. So it's really important that we started nuclear. 2 new nuclear power stations started under us. I signed off a third and set out the largest expansion of nuclear in 70 years. And that's now been scaled back by Labour because Ed Miliband is obsessed with wind and solar farms. And he's ignoring the fact that the costs have gone up. He's ignoring the fact that there's a security threat. And now he's making us incredibly reliant on kit from China, and he cannot bring down bills with his policy. And we saw that last year when he signed us up to the highest wind prices in a decade. So that's why we've set this out today. Instead of reining back our plans for nuclear, we've got to double down. But one of the things that we've seen in the 2 sites that have been worked on and started by Conservatives is that you see these delays by activists who say they're trying to protect nature. And in the case of Hinkley Point, we've got into this absurd situation where hundreds of millions of pounds are being spent on fish discos, which are speakers underground to deter fish. Now, what that's doing is driving up the cost of nuclear, and actually that's worse for nature overall, because the point that I've been making this morning is that nuclear uses 3,000 times less land than wind. So if you really care about nature, you want to protect the beautiful British countryside, which I do, then you should back our plans on nuclear.
Okay.
Claire, thank you very much. That's our Claire Cortino there from the Conservative Party. Thank you very much, Claire.
Yeah, good to see you this morning.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, she's so right about the countryside. We're talking about butterflies earlier on, weren't we? Butterfly week, counting butterflies.
Yeah, I mean, we do get a bit upset. I mean, I'm all for protecting species and things, but do we get a bit carried away? We've still got to develop. Let's talk to political correspondent Catherine Forster, who was listening to all of that. What do you reckon, Catherine?
Yes, well, I mean, the Afghan leak, what struck me most is she described it as catastrophic, which it clearly was. But as she said, nobody, as far as we can see, has been held to account. There should be accountability. How could it possibly be that a Royal Marine was able to forward a spreadsheet with this highly important, secret information in this way, and no heads that we can see have rolled? And also this potential threat that maybe thousands more people that were either on that list or related to people on that list in Afghanistan who are not here could win the right either to compensation or to be brought here because of the ECHR. And now the Ministry of Defence are saying that list, of course, that list was people applying for asylum, some of whom had worked with the British government, some of whom hadn't. The MOD are saying that for every one of those genuine claimants on that list, there are 15 that are bogus. So it is mind-blowing to think what these legal challenges could, open up. So she says, they worry about that. But again, this is a government that had 14 years that didn't get a grip of this sort of issue.
Catherine, thank you very much. Catherine Forster there with it. I'm sorry, I find this appalling. And I just would like someone to say sorry for the mess that they've created.
Well,
no one is.
Well, no, but does that matter now? It's done.
Kind of does. I feel like it kind of does, Stephen, to be honest with you.
I'm less bothered about that and more bothered about what we actually do about it. But say if Catherine says, you know, for every one on that list who we should be helping out because we've dropped them in it from a great height, 15 who were sort of claiming on it in a bogus way.
Yeah, and that's always a worry.
I'm more concerned about that rather than a civil servant or an ex-minister saying, "Oh, we made a mistake."
But just admit some responsibility for messing up in spades. Both of those things are things we should be angry at. gbnews.com/your say. Let me know what you're thinking about that one.
Right, let's have a look at the weather with Alex.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Again today, quite a mix of weather. Hot with hazy sunshine across East Anglia and the southeast. Elsewhere, yes, some sunshine, but also some heavy downpours. A drab start for southwest Scotland, parts of West Wales with some rain and drizzle here, and then we'll see showers developing as we go through the morning. Some heavy ones this afternoon over Northern Ireland, perhaps western Scotland and also northeast England. And here we do have a Met Office thunderstorm warning in place. East Anglia in the southeast, only the small chance of catching a downpour. Generally, it's sunny here and hot, highs of 30 Celsius. Not as hot elsewhere, but still for many feeling quite humid. The southeast, as I say, has the chance of catching an afternoon downpour, but mostly set fair here, as it is across the southwest. Could just be fairly cloudy here. Some sunshine developing across Wales. It's northeast England where we've got the greatest risk of thunderstorms that could cause some disruption with large hail and hefty downpours of rain. Same goes for Northern Ireland. No warning here at the moment, but still some potentially very heavy showers coming through and a scattering of showers likely across Scotland through the day with maybe some along those easternmost coasts. The heavy showers over northeast England should fade, but then we look down to the south. We're importing further hefty downpours coming across the channel, further thundery showers likely to develop through the early hours across the southeast as temperatures hold up maybe as high as 20 Celsius. A more comfortable night for sleeping further north and west, but still very humid air across these eastern counties, generating further thunderstorms on Saturday. Should be tracking northwards into parts of northern England, across the Midlands as well. The storms tomorrow could generate large hailstones, gusty wind, as well as the potential for flooding. Maybe getting into southern Scotland, parts of North Wales at times. Further west, many places will be dry. Temperatures not as high tomorrow. Still quite humid, though, with temperatures in the low 20s.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
17 minutes past 8. Now, the Prime Minister has said there are no adequate words to acknowledge the death of a child after that bus crash in Minehead in which one child was killed. 21 others were taken to hospital yesterday.
Yeah, the bus was bringing children back from a day trip to a zoo and a beach when the collision occurred.
Let's talk to our national reporter, Charlie Peters. Are we getting any further indication at this stage, Charlie, as to what happened?
Well, we're being told it was a collision, but the emergency services won't guide us on what sort of collision or even if another vehicle was involved. We have, however, heard from locals and indeed the MP in the area about how the road itself is dangerous. It's widely considered to be a difficult road to drive on. This is Rachel Gilmore, the MP for Tiverton and Minehead, saying that she travels on the A396 every day. It says it's very steep, very windy, and that's just the nature of rural roads in her constituency. But we do know that after this incident, there was a significant response from the emergency services. Over 20 ambulances, 3 air ambulances, we understand ferrying casualties to the Bristol Royal Infirmary. And we also heard last night from the Fire and Rescue Services that one of their off-duty officers, in a sense, self-mobilised, having been a driver behind that coach to immediately assist in retrieving those who were trapped inside that coach. Some 60 to 70 people on board, returning from Exmoor Zoo and a trip to the beach. Children aged 9 or 10 on a school day out, very close to the school holidays starting when this tragedy occurred. And Somerset Council leader Bill Revens has said it was absolutely heartbreaking. He's also shared, as many have, his sincere thanks to the emergency services. And of course, the saddest news among all of this incident is that one child has died following that incident, which occurred around 3 p.m. yesterday. We know that 2 children have been seriously injured and 19 others were taken to hospital. The A396 at Cutcombe Hill remains closed for police investigation. And we've also been told this morning by Devon and Somerset Fire and Rescue Services that their firefighters and officers freed 7 passengers who were trapped in the coach after it left the road. You can only imagine the scene that off-duty officer attended when they self-mobilised to attend this collision. At the height of the incident, we're told that 60 firefighters were attending that scene, almost one firefighter for every person on board that coach. So the investigation is starting, as you'd imagine, right away to gather more details about it. But all of the emergency services, the authorities and also political leaders in the area sharing their heartfelt sympathies with those affected.
OK. Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie. It's incredibly sad, isn't it? Waving your little ones off to school and such a happy day that was meant to be going to the zoo, going to the beach. Just awful, awful, awful thing.
Doesn't bear thinking about. Let's hope to get some answers to that.
Yeah,
soon.
and obviously thoughts with all the families. So
of course.
And the little girls and boys that are on that coach and, you know, what they're going through now as well.
Well, that's the thing. They'll be affected for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Very sadly, by all of that.
No.
Right, it's 21 minutes past 8. Yesterday, hundreds of protesters gathered near a hotel used to house asylum seekers in the Essex town of Epping. Police confirm one person was arrested on suspicion of a fray. Fireworks were set off as well, apparently. The tensions came after the arrest of an Ethiopian migrant who's been charged with 3 counts of sexual assault. The 38-year-old has denied the offences. There'll be a trial next month at Chelmsford Magistrates Court.
Yeah, and the government has confirmed the voting age will be reduced from 18 to 16 in time for the next general election. The pledge is set to be introduced as part of the new elections bill. Ministers say the changes will mean 1.5 million additional people will be eligible to vote in that election.
And the former Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, has been talking to Christopher Hope for his political podcast. He gave his views on whether tax could be increased in the budget at the end of the year.
I fear she will, yes. I think it's going to be a disastrous thing for the economy if she does, because, you know, what many of us are worried about is that we're going to end up in this doom loop of ever higher taxes and ever lower growth. And, you know, there are lots of divides in British politics, but the Conservative Party, I think, is the only party that really believes that you have to have lower taxes if you want higher growth. Look around the world, America, Asia, all the countries where the economy is, you know, going gangbusters are places which have kept their taxes low. Only in Europe, including the UK, sadly, have we gone in the opposite direction.
And you can watch and listen to the full interview with Jeremy Hunt on this week's episode of Chopper's Political Podcast. It's on gbnews.com and all your normal podcast platforms.
Right. Still plenty of time to grab your chance to win our biggest ever cash prize, that incredible £54,321. Here's how you can enter.
This is your chance to enjoy luxury this summer. It's our biggest cash prize to date, an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash has to be won. What would you do with that? With all of that cash, you could just chill out, treat yourself and indulge in the finer things in life, somewhere like here, Downhall Hotel and Spa. You really could win the cash giveaway of the summer. Go on, treat yourself.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Oh, good luck indeed. That'd be a cracking summer to give you, wouldn't it? You could just take off and ignore.
Very nice.
Ignore. Or you could buy some food.
Oh,
OK. The rise of food challenges. We're discussing that next. This is GB News with Stephen and Dawn.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Good afternoon, Britain. A cheerful Lollipop man's signature high fives have been stopped in their tracks.
Oh dear. Well, Neil Cotton, believed by local children... sorry. I'll start that all over again. This is a chap called Neil Cotton, and he's beloved by local kids in Howden, East Yorkshire. And he's been told by the council to stop the friendly high-fiving gesture, all in the name of health and safety.
But many parents and motorists are calling it nonsense. No surprises there. So apparently this chap, 57 years old, he spent the last 2 years brightening up the school run in the East Yorkshire town of Howden. There he is. Looks like a nice guy, doesn't he? He has a cheerful attitude. He has his signature high fives. The children love it. The parents love it. He loves it. But no, the council says, get on with your job and stop the high fives.
This is the one area of employment where the council's trying to chivvy people on and get them to work harder rather than less hard. But I mean, what have we done in this country where we've sort of abandoned our sense of whimsy? I think adding a sense of whimsy to all jobs, I think, is a fundamental productivity measure, actually. I think if you're enjoying what you're doing, you're going to be doing it better. People are going to go into school or away from school with a smile on their face. What a joyful thing in a town in Yorkshire. I mean, amazing, brilliant. And yet, no, of course, the clipboards have to come out and the dour library monitor-style individuals. I bet they're all library monitors at school. They've just got to tell people that they can't have fun.
Yeah, so the children have to be shooed along. They can't be distracted by such frivolities as a high five.
GB News, the People's Channel.
This is Britain's newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Now, what do we call them? Food challenges. Apparently becoming even more of a craze, like they do in the States with the hot dog eating competitions.
They've been around for quite a while. But...
I think it's a bit disgusting, really. Anyway, one is how many burgers you can eat in 10 minutes.
Well, one journalist took on a challenge to eat, brace yourself, 13 burgers in 10 minutes. Unfortunately, he only managed just 4, becoming, well, slightly nauseous.
Yeah, it's all very odd, isn't it? But it was Harry Wallop who did it, the consumer journalist, and he joins us now. I've got first and foremost, Harry, why did you decide to try it?
I tried it because I actually had received a couple of press releases from different restaurants in the space of a week saying they were hosting eating challenges. And I thought, this is a very strange phenomenon. What's going on? And the answer is the restaurant industry are in dire straits. The hospitality industry are really suffering. So they're just desperately trying to drum up buzz and publicity for their venues. So I thought I'd go and find out what it's all about, why they've chosen this route rather than other routes. And I thought, well, I better try one of the eating challenges myself, which was, how many burgers you can eat in 10 minutes.
Right, OK, so we can see on screen now a picture of you in front of... They were just normal-sized burgers, I'm assuming, Harry?
They're 6-ounce burgers, so they are, in my defence, for only managing 4, which doesn't sound very much. They are the equivalent of a quarter pounder and a half, so the equivalent of, say, 6 quarter pounders. Obviously, your brain, if you're a normal person, you're not a professional competitive eater, and there are professional competitive eaters out there. If you're a normal person, your brain sends a signal to your mouth, which is stop eating. It's, you know, you've had enough, and you just can't physically chew anything more. Even though, you know, the burgers were perfectly delicious, I just couldn't get anything more into my mouth.
How do you talk about it being in effect, a marketing ploy? How does that work? How do they make money out of it?
That's a good question, Stephen. Well, the thing is, everyone now, I say everyone, a huge majority of people now are searching for anything, particularly sort of days out or where to eat. They're searching on video. They're searching on TikTok or they're searching on Reels on Instagram. They're not searching for information. So you've got to try and get your message, whatever it might be, out on video. And of course, eating contests, yes, on the one hand, in many ways, they're disgusting and gross. On the other hand, lots of people love them and they think they're very entertaining. And some of these restaurants have quite a lot of razzmatazz, and they have timers, they have the Rocky music playing, and it gets people, even just passers-by, to video it, they upload it, it goes viral, and otherwise, mid-market chain, which doesn't have a marketing budget, is getting millions of people viewing this content, and it's quite clever marketing in this day and age where we're obsessed by the moving image rather than the word.
I mean, Harry, you managed 4, which is frankly quite pathetic, if you don't mind me saying. So has anyone actually ever managed to eat... What's the challenge? Is it 10 altogether?
13.
Well, this is, you get £5,000 if you eat 13, and the reason they've done that is because they actually employed a professional eater called Leah Shutkeva, who's got like tons of world records. She's an incredible woman. I mean, she looks like she is kind of a bodybuilder on the side. So she set the benchmark at 12. Anyone can beat her at 12 will get the £5,000. She admitted to me, because I did interview her, she was going easy. She reckoned she could easily get more. This particular burger place, it's called Red Dog Saloon Bar. This particular burger place actually has banned professional eaters. You have to sign a waiver before you eat, saying, I know it's dangerous, I take full liability, and you have to promise not to be a competitive eater, because they want to have a few months of normal people like me trying to have a go at it, and then I think in September or October they'll open it up to professional eaters.
Right, oh dear. Well, there you go. Well, at least you got 4 burgers out of it, Harry. Good to see you this morning. Thank you very much indeed.
And if you are having your breakfast this morning...
it's just eating to the point of feeling sick.
Well, I think Harry was sick at the end, wasn't he? I think he managed 4 of them. Could you do that?
No.
I mean, we don't eat meat burgers, do we?
I'll tell you what, and I know it might sound,
but
I've always struggled with the idea of stuffing your face with something that you don't really want. When there are people starving in the world, do you know what I mean? People starving in this country.
No, absolutely, that is a very full... However, I'm married to someone that can actually put chocolate back in the fridge and leave it there.
You know.
That's literally psychopathic, isn't it?
I'm afraid I don't have that skill.
No.
Anyway, right, if you've just finished your breakfast and you're preparing to travel to work or school, here's your traffic and travel update.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the M25 anti-clockwise, a collision between junctions 13 and 12 has closed 2 of 5 lanes, expecting 50-minute delays. In Suffolk, the A12 northbound between junctions 32B and 33 has 1 lane closed due to a collision causing delays. The A38 eastbound between A382 and A380 has a lane closed due to a broken down vehicle. Ongoing roadworks on the M74 southbound junction 3 on-slip cause diversions. And on the trains, disruptions at Sheffield affect cross-country and East Midlands railway services. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
OK, which has been what you can and can't eat in one sitting mostly involves stuff you shouldn't be eating, chocolate,
all
sweets,
stuff you shouldn't be eating.
ice cream.
I mean, no one ever power eats a salad, do they?
No, there is.
I mean, let's be honest.
If you've ever eaten a power-eating salad, let me know, gbnews.com. OK, still to come, Aidan has all your sport. That's next. This is GB News with Stephen and Dawn.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Time for the sport. Aidan's here. Good morning.
Good morning to you both.
Can we talk golf? McIlroy?
Yes, why not? Rory McIlroy. Look, he won the Masters, didn't he, a few months ago. He's pretty much flunked since then, almost hinting that he's lost a bit of hunger. And yesterday there was a real pressure point, really. It was his home major over in Royal Portrush. He was slow off the tee, but he did manage to get 3 birdies in the next 6. And he was followed by thousands of people, expectant crowd. Don't forget, it was the first time they'd seen him locally with the green jacket since he won that in the Masters back in April in dramatic style. But he couldn't really achieve the consistency he needed. It's left him 1 shot back on 3 under. Sorry, 3 shots back on 1 under, and we got a tie for five-way tie on for the lead. Matt Fitzpatrick is involved in that as well.
Tie.
Pardon?
5-way tie.
Yeah, but that's not uncommon early on. As I say, they call tomorrow, Saturday, in most of these majors, moving day. That's when you kind of separate the pretenders from the real contenders, the pretenders from the contenders, as we might say, as we go into Sunday. But as I say, pressure on him as well, because he feels the weight of expectation from this crowd. His short game was quite good. He was just a bit erratic off the tee. However, he did at least make the cut, which he didn't do last time. The Open was at Royal Portrush back in 2019. So we'll see how it goes in the next few days. I think it's a good time for him to kind of re-announce himself, if you like. We saw this with Andy Murray, didn't we, back in 2013? He won Wimbledon and then just sort of I wouldn't say chucked the towel in, but he certainly revelled in the glory for a few months. And Rory McIlroy, though, at the age of 38, I think he's got plenty to prove still.
Oh, yeah.
Solar-powered cars, £8 pints at Portrush.
Yeah, but that's normal. They're championship prices.
£8?
They're championship prices. That's what I mean. I was discussing it in the week with Eamon. I think it was like £17 for a burger, when normally it would be £7.
Blimey.
I went into a Thai restaurant in Wimbledon last week, and I said, I'll have my usual starter and main course, please, for a tenner. Oh, no, Mr McGee, no, it's championship prices this week. It's going to cost you 20. I said, you know what? I'm going somewhere else. I'll go home and make something.
Well, that's it. Vote with your feet, indeed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lionesses.
Yes.
I mean, what a game.
Yes.
I mean,
what penalties?
I mean, it was a bit of a nail biter.
It was a nail biter, yeah, especially if you're a fan of really appallingly taking penalties. I mean, 9 out of the 14 were missed. But look, a win's a win's a win. They got through. They weren't necessarily favourites beforehand, but they went into the match with a semi-final place at stake, which they've achieved, which is going to be in Geneva on Tuesday against Italy. And they did it in dramatic style. They were 2-0 down very early on, got it back to 2-2 second half, and then extra time, which was uneventful, and then on to penalties. And I think we can hear from Serena Wiegmann right now.
That's a quality that's so strong from this team, that togetherness and fighting back and not playing well, but sticking together. That shows so much resilience. And then also we're changing the picture, bringing other players in. They, you know, like Michelle, Chloe, they bring some different things to the game. And Beth, of course, that really helped. That really helped the team in that moment. But also Sweden at that moment had to had to adapt to some different things we did. And before they could have adapted, it was 2-2. So that's so powerful, this team. And then that luck, yeah. Today I thought about 3 times we were out.
My phone's going off in my pocket, sorry. Tom will go to kit now, thank you. I've got a FaceTime.
Oh, well, there she goes. having a phone call from her boyfriend.
That was quite funny, though, that, Hannah. But I have a question for you, Aidan, talking of penalties. I mean, the husband described the penalties last night. Unfortunately, I was in bed. As some of the worst penalties ever seen. And as England fans, you do watch a lot of very bad penalties.
England have quite a good record. Lionesses have a good record.
The women are better than the men, to be fair. But if we get through the semi-finals, we could potentially face Germany in the final.
Yes.
And that could go to penalties.
Yes, it could do, but Germany were absolutely battered in the group stage by Sweden. 4-1, in fact. So, look, you can never write them off of tournaments, but England beat Germany 3 years ago in the final. I don't think at this stage, Stephen, having got to the semi-finals, England have anything to fear now. They've shown better form in Game 2 and Game 3, and let's see where it goes from now. It's knockout football. It isn't always the best team that wins. Let's just see what happens.
Aidan McGee says we're going to win it.
Says we might. Says we might, which will work for me. All right, Aidan, thanks very much
Thank
indeed.
you very much.
Look, still to come, we've got the papers with Bill Rammell and Claire Muldoon. There they are. First off, if you want some holiday sun, here's the forecast for top European destinations.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Lots of blue skies and strong hot sunshine around the Mediterranean at the moment. There's going to be a bit of a breeze blowing, however, this weekend, especially for Crete and Cyprus. Maybe 1 or 2 showers inland across Turkey, but again, most of the coast's dry and sunny. Same goes for Italy and much of southern Spain, along with the Balearics and the Canaries. Also set fair. Temperatures in Tenerife close to 30 Celsius. We'll have highs here of 29 for the next few days and similar temperatures in Barcelona.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Yeah, so I got the news on 4th of April, right in between GB Team Selection Series, which hurt even more because I was leading in the points. But all of a sudden, I get a phone call being told you're banned from attending any part of UK premises, banned from speaking with your teammates or staff, which was the most brutal part of it. and suspended, or whatever word you want to use.
I think, though, Kurt, that, posting subscription-only saucy content online might get you in a little bit of trouble, or did it not cross your mind?
No, for sure. But I want to make it clear that I have tried things in the past. I've been living life on the edge so many years. We moved from Latvia in 2010, been living life on the edge since then, done everything from working freelance long into the long nights, working at the Amazon warehouse. I have seeked out other alternatives, but in December last year, I got to a point, a realization where I thought, is it worth it, or can I find an alternative? And I knew of other GB athletes doing it. I didn't think it was going to cause outrage like this.
Yeah, because I was thinking, a nice chap like you, who's obviously very talented with your sport, you could make some money doing, like online fitness training or personal training and things like that don't involve, getting your kit off.
No, for sure. I've been making content for like 6-7 years now. Over 1,000 of the pieces of content have been inspirational, motivational. I've visited over 30 schools in the UK, going to the hardest parts of the UK, inspiring kids from underprivileged backgrounds to get into sport. I've tried that, but I don't know. I found that in this day and age, unless you are smart or find some little controversial thing you can hold on to, it's going to be hard to get attention and sponsorship.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
No, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's 8:46 already. Time for the papers with the broadcaster Claire Muldoon and former Labour Minister Bill Bramwell, if I get my words out. Morning, you two.
Morning.
Claire, can we have a look ahead to the Notting Hill Carnival? Because the police are going to throw in some facial recognition cameras this year.
They are. And I think that there is a huge case to getting the Notting Hill Carnival moved. It doesn't bode well in the aftermath of the carnival to walk around the streets of West London. It stinks of weed, it stinks of human deposits. It is not safe. The buildings have to put... We have to put wood and hoardings up over the buildings, shops, everything. It's over 1 million people that descend on there. That is not there any longer to celebrate the cultural norm of the Caribbean or South America. It's just a melee of people to behave in the utmost awful, degrading human ways. And what the front page of the Mail has done is it says that the police will use facial recognition cameras now at the Notting Hill Carnival. I am not in favour of this, not because of people being mistreated, arrested under false pretences, and because it's been proven not to have any racial bias as well. It's important to point that out. My issue with it is the data that it will hold, where the data comes from. These are not legitimate government policies or departments. These are private companies that set up the camera equipment, that hold the data, that then will take the pictures of the people. And I think they're framing it for public safety, when you have to, I think, look deeper to it and find out what is going on. I think it would be a very good standpoint to say, we're stopping it, we're not allowing it in its current form to carry on. And I think the society has to get together with the councils, local leaders and local authorities to make it safer for people, because under Khan's Labour mayoralship of London, he's killing London physically and metaphorically, and that has to stop.
Bill, two people did lose their lives that fatally stabbed at last year's carnival. What do you make of that?
Well, look, it's a cultural celebration, but I think the streets of Notting Hill are not built to accommodate 1 million people. It's too crowded. There's all sorts of rubbish that's left. Sadly and tragically, there have been fatalities, and I agree that it ought to be relocated. I don't, however, agree that facial recognition cameras are a problem. Technology has always advanced, and the police have embraced it to help make us safer and to tackle crime. And I think if they're going to be using facial recognition technology this year, it hopefully will make things less unsafe than they otherwise would be.
What's going to be the next thing? It's cram-packed, though, Bill. You cannot move.
And that's
Is it
why
going to
I've
be
relocated
drones that are going to come to, like, get people out?
Yeah.
We need to sort it out on the ground, not using drones, not using facial recognition, because I'm sick of it. If you get a parking ticket in this country, you know within 10 days that you've got one, or 7 days when you've got one, and yet we've got paedophiles, rapists, everything that people can't find. And yet they're using facial recognition for a Notting Hill carnival. Stephen, no, I mean, it's not on.
But it's not unique to Notting Hill. I think the police are going to be using facial recognition technology across the board before long.
All right, can we have a look, Bill, at the job market? Hasn't unemployment hit the highest it's been in 4 years recently? And it looks like things might get even worse.
It's challenging. If you look across the board, even though there was a monthly downturn in growth, and growth drives all of this, over the 3 months, it's 0.5% as an increase. I think moving forward with the policies that have been put in place to boost growth, I think we will see an improvement. But I do think, and everybody's talking about after the welfare rebellion, the fiscal gap that the Chancellor's got, I think one of the problems the government has got is 3 months' worth of debates about taxation and the economy before the budget. And if the government could pull the budget forward, I think they should do that, because all the while that debate is taking place, it's depressing confidence, it's depressing spending habits, and whatever decisions are going to be made need to happen sooner rather than later.
Do you not think that Angela Rayner's hike in Class 2 national insurance contributions for employers is actually killing growth? And do you not think that her labour reform in terms of employment law is actually stifling growth, because a lot of small and medium enterprise businesses cannot afford the legislation that is going to be implemented in the workforce?
Well, it's about balance in the workplace. And if you look at the polling evidence, the vast majority of people actually support those employment reforms. And look, you know, national insurance contributions, nobody wants to pay higher taxes, but there's massive need to invest in public services, particularly the National Health Service. And without that change in national insurance contributions, we wouldn't be seeing the progress that is actually being made in reducing
the implementation of VAT on private schools, the revenue that was going to be brought in for that was supposed to go back into state school system. That's not happening.
Well, it is happening because there are more teachers being employed in secondary schools. But I tell you what, I will acknowledge, I think one of the strategic mistakes the Labour Party made before the election was committing not to touch income tax, national insurance and VAT. I think they should have come in with the huge challenge that they faced and said that the 4p cut in 18 months that the Tories delivered to national insurance was unsustainable. That was employee national insurance, and I think most people would have bought into that.
What's going? Oh, go on,
I'm just going to lighten the mood. Sorry, it's
Oh,
Friday. Yeah.
All right, go on.
Should
You
we
go
talk
for it.
grapes?
Grapes.
Let's talk grapes.
Grapes,
Who
sour
wants to talk about
grapes. So there's not any sour grapes on this panel, let's be honest.
No.
So the Co-op
avoided
have found a grape variety that tastes like a mojito cocktail. We have another food provider in Marks and Spencer's that have got the candy floss grape. I don't know if anyone's tried those. They're really sweet and very juicy and taste like candy floss.
Do they actually do? Have you
They
tried
actually do, I have, yes, indeed. And these ones, apparently, they've got a slightly lime tinge, a tinge of lime, and are sweet.
And it's like a mojito.
Yeah.
You'd rather have a mojito, wouldn't you, Bill?
I'd rather have a mojito. But what's interesting, they're about 25% more expensive than ordinary grapes. And I declare an interest. I'm someone who's pre-diabetic, and I love grapes.
Oh, yeah,
but
but
they
they're
are
not
like
good.
poison for you if you've got that challenge.
Well, what's lovely, another good tip, instead of having an ice cube in your wine or your cocktail to cool it down, use grapes in the freezer or lemon wedges. Put them in the freezer and then you can take them out and put them into your gin and tonic or your beer, your lager or whatever, and it's much better because it
sounds good to me. I might try this.
Oh, well, that matters. Frozen grapes are actually quite nice as a sweet treat.
Good for dogs. They like them.
And they are healthier, yeah.
Yeah, see, because actually they don't go rock hard. You can squinch through them. Anyway, there you go. But no good if you're pre-diabetic. There you go. Right, Bill, Claire, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Here's the weather.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Again today, quite a mix of weather. Hot with hazy sunshine across East Anglia and the southeast. Elsewhere, yes, some sunshine, but also some heavy downpours. A drab start for southwest Scotland, parts of West Wales with some rain and drizzle here, and then we'll see showers developing as we go through the morning. Some heavy ones this afternoon over Northern Ireland, perhaps western Scotland and also northeast England. And here we do have a Met Office thunderstorm warning in place. East Anglia in the southeast, only the small chance of catching a downpour. Generally, it's sunny here and hot, highs of 30 Celsius. Not as hot elsewhere, but still for many feeling quite humid. The southeast, as I say, has the chance of catching an afternoon downpour, but mostly set fair here. As it is across the southwest, could just be fairly cloudy here. Some sunshine developing across Wales. It's northeast England where we've got the greatest risk of thunderstorms that could cause some disruption with large hail and hefty downpours of rain. Same goes for Northern Ireland. No warning here at the moment, but still some potentially very heavy showers coming through and a scattering of showers likely across Scotland through the day with maybe some along those easternmost coasts. The heavy showers over northeast England should fade, but then we look down to the south. We're importing further hefty downpours coming across the Channel, further thundery showers likely to develop through the early hours across the southeast as temperatures hold up maybe as high as 20 Celsius. A more comfortable night for sleeping further north and west, but still very humid air across these eastern counties, generating further thunderstorms on Saturday. Should be tracking northwards into parts of northern England, across the Midlands as well. The storms tomorrow could generate large hailstones, gusty wind, as well as the potential for flooding. Maybe getting into southern Scotland, parts of North Wales at times. Further west, many places will be dry. Temperatures not as high tomorrow. Still quite humid, though, with temperatures in the low 20s.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M74 southbound junction 3 on slip is closed for maintenance. Follow the signed diversion route and anticipate extended travel times. On the A12 northbound, a collision between junction 32B and junction 33 led to one-lane closure. Expect additional delays of about 10 minutes. In Wales, roadworks on the A55 westbound between junction 18, Llandudno Junction, and junction 17, Conwy Morpher, are causing a lane closure. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast is experiencing disruptions between Warrington, Bank Quay and Crewe. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash. So make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good morning. Is the migration crisis about to get worse?
Breaking news, as it's revealed more than 23,000 small boat migrants have crossed the Channel this year.
Well, there's thick fog in the Channel at the moment, and the people smugglers have taken advantage of that to push multiple small boats out into the Channel, several hundred believed to be en route to the UK as we speak.
Unrest in Epping. Hundreds of protesters gathered near a hotel used to house asylum seekers in the Essex town.
And the longest-serving female MP, Diane Abbott, is suspended from the Labour Party for doubling down on her controversial comments about racism.
The Labour leadership wants me out, says Diane Abbott. Could she be tempted to join a new party with her old friend, Jeremy Corbyn?
A school coach trip ends in tragedy as police confirm one child has died in a crash in Minehead.
And the government confirms the voting age will be lowered to 16, but could this spell trouble for the Conservatives and for Labour?
And the X Factor runner-up from the second season of the show is back with some new music. Andy Abraham will be here on Breakfast very shortly.
Heavy showers in places again today and the risk of further thunderstorms, but not everywhere will catch one, and particularly across parts of the east and southeast, there'll be some hot sunshine around as well. More details coming up with a full forecast later on.
It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Dawn Neeson, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Well, let's just kick straight off with breaking news this morning. And people smuggling gangs are taking advantage of thick fog in the Channel this morning to launch multiple small boats towards UK waters.
Hundreds of small boat migrants are currently in the Channel heading towards the UK. GB News can reveal that the total number of migrants who have crossed the Channel so far this year has now passed 23,000.
Let's head to our Home and Security editor, Mark White, who's in Dover for us this morning. Hi, Mark.
Good morning to you. You can see behind me, well, probably you can't see behind me, that's the thing. It's thick fog, and it's thick fog on this side of the Channel. It's exactly the same on the other side of the Channel. We've seen pictures from some of the beaches there, and you can't see more than 50 feet in front of you, really, in a lot of those images. And of course, the people smugglers, always willing to adapt, have taken advantage of that to push small boats out into the Channel, some of them undetected. So you have currently Border Force with their maritime assets up in the air over the Channel, looking down, trying to detect these small boats. You've got at least 3 Border Force vessels now currently in the middle of the Channel in what's called the separation zone, waiting for small boats to come across. We understand at least 3 small boats are currently under escort by the French authorities, so that's 3 small boats they know about. Others potentially could be out there that they don't know about. We can tell you that one small boat already made it here to UK waters. Our producer Chris was here this morning very early on as that small boat came in, we think with about 50 individuals on board. So with those in the channel as well, that has taken the total number of migrants who have crossed the English Channel since the beginning of this year to 23,000, more than 23,000. 320 plus came across yesterday. You're looking at the images there from Graveline Beach, which is near Dunkirk, as those migrants were waiting for a taxi boat and scrambling into the water to get on that boat when it came from one of the river tributaries there. And that yesterday figure, combined with what we're seeing in the channel this morning, has taken us over that 23,000 mark for the year so far. That is significant because effectively just 13,000 more migrants, and we have beaten the whole of last year's figure of 36,000 in the English Channel. We're already more than 55% ahead of last year's figure for those that have crossed at this point last year. And we're just now entering the busiest part of the year, those months of July, of course, August, September, even into October can be a very busy month in the Channel. So I think there's no doubt that we are within perhaps a month and a half or so going to overtake last year's figure. And we are maybe on for an all-time record this year in the English Channel.
Nothing the government seemed to do, from smashing the gangs to, you know, cuddly meetings with President Macron, seemed to be making any difference.
No, but the government has to be seen to be doing something, and that's why, of course, we got yesterday again with the visit of the German Chancellor, the announcement that the Germans would finally be doing something to stop people smuggling on their soil. We have been asking the Germans for years to clamp down on the people smugglers who use Germany as a hub for these small boats that are made in the backstreet factories of China. They're shipped through often through land corridors to Turkey, and then they make their way again by land to Europe, to Germany, where they're stored in lockups in various German cities, including Essen and Dusseldorf, and then they make their way by road to northern France, where they're assembled and they come across the English Channel. Well, the Germans have now said that they will change the law to make it illegal to conspire in a conspiracy for people smuggling. However, it's going to be another 6 months before they actually enact that law. So in that time, many thousands more will have crossed the English Channel.
OK, Mark, for now, thanks very much indeed. Let's head to get the government's point of view on this. Treasury Secretary James Murray joins us now. Good morning to you. I mean, that figure of 23,000 illegal migrants coming here so far this year is concerning. Well, I mean, in real terms, what are you doing about it? Because people see a disturbing big figure, but we know hundreds of people are crossing the Channel right now. And yet there seems to be literally nothing that the government is doing about it.
Well, no, that's not the case. Let me just set out two key areas in which we're taking action. Firstly, about people who are here already, who have been in limbo, sort of waiting for their asylum applications to be processed. We are speeding up those applications, making sure that we get through that backlog that we inherited from the previous government. Then on the other side, about people coming into the country, as your previous guest just explained, we've been working with Germany. As you know, we've also been working with France about making sure we're working with international allies to take action to stop this people smuggling happening across the Channel, because there isn't a silver bullet for this. This is a big issue that we need to tackle, and so we're trying every possible avenue to try and make sure we stop the gangs exploiting people by putting them in the boats across the Channel, because we know how important this is.
And yet, I mean, there is an argument there. As Mark White was saying, whatever deal that you've done with Germany and how effective it is, we're not going to find out for 6 months. But also, I mean, there's a very real argument here, isn't there, to say, without a deterrent, what difference is any of it going to make?
And part of the deal that the Prime Minister announced with the French was about having a deterrent, about sending people back if they come over from France in the boats across the Channel, about sending them back. And that was part of the deal that he struck with the French. I mean, the other part as well that's important to flag is some of the legislation going through Parliament at the moment to improve our powers by giving the government sort of counter-terrorism style powers to go after those gangs who are responsible for these crossings. Because if we can make sure that we have the deterrent for individual people, so the scheme that we're piloting with the French, and we make sure that we're pursuing the gangs who actually operate these trafficking routes, operate these smuggling routes for people across the Channel, that's the right way to do it. And as I say, you know, there is no silver bullet to stopping this overnight, but it means we have to work relentlessly on every front to reduce it.
James, this is obviously a very big issue with voters at the moment, and this is an area where Reform are winning over all the main political parties. There is the accusation that you, the Labour Party, are encouraging or wanting 16 and 17-year-olds to vote because you are worried about losing votes to Reform. Are you panicking?
No, look, giving 16-year-olds the votes was in our manifesto. So people have known about this for a long time if they read the manifesto last year, and we're implementing our manifesto. So I think usually when parties do what they say in manifestos, that's a good thing. And we think that, you know, you've got to pick an age where people are able to vote, and we think it's right to bring that down, because at the age of 16, you can work, you can pay taxes, you can serve in the armed forces. We think it's right that people can vote at that age too.
James, congratulations for sticking to one promise in your manifesto, because it's about the only one, isn't it?
No, because we also promised that we wouldn't raise tax on working people through national insurance, income tax and VAT. We stuck to that promise too. That's another example. Talk about some of the work that we're doing today to help businesses who have particularly energy-intensive work that they do. So businesses like steel, ceramics, glass and so on. These are some important businesses in the UK which have particularly high energy costs. And today we set out our plans for next year to cut those bills for energy for around 500 companies who have some of the highest energy bills in the country. So that's work that we're doing to support British businesses. We're helping working people. We're putting more money in people's pockets, increasing the national living wage, capping bus fares at £3, making sure that we're rolling out breakfast clubs in primary schools across the country, whilst at the same time putting the NHS back on its feet. 4.5 million extra appointments, waiting lists coming down. You know, so there's a lot more for us to do. But don't get me wrong, there is a lot more for us to do over the course of this Parliament. But in terms of putting more money in people's pockets, fixing the public finances, supporting businesses to invest and grow, we've made a start in the first year, and we're getting on with the job that we promised we'd do.
Can I ask you about Diane Abbott? Is it really right that she's had the whip removed again? When you actually look at the comments she made, she says there is a difference in racism between people who are black, because you can tell they are black, it is perfectly obvious they are black, and that is different to people, to anti-Semitism, for example, where you may not know somebody is Jewish. I mean, is it really that wrong?
So what's happened is that Diane Abbott's made comments in the last few days, or rather they've been broadcast in the last few days, that refer back to previous comments she made and for which she apologised at the time. Now, when that happens, there's a process for handling this in the Labour Party. It means the comments need to be looked into. Whilst they're being looked into, she has to be administratively suspended. And that's standard process that would happen for anyone who's being looked into in this way. So there's now a process underway. That process will play out. It's not for ministers like me or MPs to comment on what we think the conclusion of that process will be, other than to say we hope it concludes swiftly. And that's what we need to let happen.
James, Keir Starmer does have a habit of sacking our MPs pretty sharply if they disagree with him. This is something Tony Blair never did.
Well, no, let me just make one point on that, because what I was just talking about in relation to Diane Abbott is a completely different case than the 4 MPs.
So the 4 MPs, yeah, but I mean, absolutely, the 4 MPs that have already had the whip withdrawn. I mean, Tony Blair had faced a similar situation with dissent amongst backbenchers, but he never actually sacked, to use that phrase. Why is Keir Starmer so keen to remove the whip from his MPs?
Well, what I know about Keir Starmer is that he is absolutely determined that we deliver on what we promised in the manifesto. He's absolutely determined that we deliver the change that we promised the last election. And the only way we can do that is if we operate as a team in Parliament. You know, all of us Labour MPs elected on the manifesto, working together as a team to take choices which are sometimes difficult, but they're necessary to get the country back on track and to make working people better off. We need to make sure we're working as a team. Now, when some people stray too far from that, too far outside of the approach of working as a team, occasionally people need to be reminded how important that is. And that's what's happened this week with those people losing the whip that you mentioned, because it's only by working as a team that we will deliver what we promised.
I know one thing you wanted to talk about today was this cut in electricity prices, so electricity costs for for energy-intensive businesses. But I've got to ask, why are we still operating in this country on what they call a marginal pricing system when it comes to electricity? So it doesn't matter where our electricity comes from, half of it coming from renewables now. It's meant to be cheaper, and yet we're still priced on the most expensive way of generating electricity, which at the moment is gas.
Yeah, so one of the issues you point to there is the fact that we are reliant on gas to a greater extent than a lot of other countries. I think it's the case in France that the marginal energy comes from nuclear, so that can often have a lower cost. But the issue here is that we're too reliant on gas. And so one of the big things we're doing over this Parliament is to shift our energy production to make it more affordable, more independent, more secure. And that's by investing in things like renewables, you know, wind energy and solar energy, and also nuclear power alongside that. And by having that energy independence, that energy security, it will help us be more stable in terms of energy prices, but also crucially bring those bills down. And that's really good news for British people and really good news for businesses as well. Now, getting there to bring the bills down by investing in the new sources of energy obviously takes time, and people need real help now. And so that's why what we're setting out today is for these 500 businesses operating in the UK who are some of the most energy intensive, so they have the very highest energy bills in sectors like steel, chemicals, ceramics and so on. They will get extra support from next year, backdated to this year, but it'll kick in next year, and it'll help them to level the playing field, because in other countries overseas, like other countries in Europe, they have lower energy costs. We want to level the playing field for British businesses so they can compete and succeed and obviously create and maintain jobs here in the UK. So that's why we're offering this help right now for those companies, or from next year but backdated to this year, so it's help to bring down their energy bills. At the same time, by the way, is helping individual families through our Warm Homes discount, which will help millions of families next winter with £150 off their energy bills. All of that is to give help in the coming years, whilst we make the transition to more affordable, more secure and more independent energy sources in the future.
James, sorry, we have run out of time there. James, thank you very much for joining us this morning. That's Treasury Secretary James Murray. Thank you very much.
Right, talking of money, after that you might want to grab a bit more in your pocket. You don't have to pay
tax on this one, though.
No, absolutely tax-free. £54,321. If you want it, here's how you can enter.
We're here at Down Hall in Essex to enjoy the finer things in life. And it's your chance to win £54,321 in cash. It's like having an extra £1,000 in your bank account each week for a whole year, which means that you'd be able to indulge in treats whenever you wanted to. That extra cash each week could send some of those day-to-day financial stresses packing this year, to enable you to sit back, relax and do nothing. Make sure you don't miss out on our biggest cash giveaway to date.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Where Anna Riley, our intrepid reporter, is doing the toughest job in television right now, which is enjoying the sunshine. Anna.
Yes, Tom, it's definitely a tough gig for me today, I'll tell you. I'm on the Bridlington Fun Park ride here. This is the Zero Gravity ride. This fun park is, off we go. This fun park is right next to the sea. Oh, it goes quite quickly, I'll tell you. And people are out enjoying rides like this one. Woo, off we go. It's a great boost for tourism, and we've been speaking to people here in Bridlington about what's so great about the sunshine. Let's have a listen.
We're on holiday. We've been here since last Friday, so we can't complain. It's been beautiful, and we're here till Monday, so we're really looking forward to the hot weather. As you can see, the sunbird.
It's lovely. It really is very nice. It's absolutely gorgeous. We deserve it, definitely.
It's good. We like the warm weather.
Yes, very nice. Loving it. Yes, like the warm
enough.
weather.
Woo! Well, this ride is showing no signs of stopping, and neither is the sunshine. We're getting that heat wave at the weekend. Enjoy the weather and enjoy fun rides like this one. Get to Bridlington and get to the fun park. Woo! Oh my gosh!
Absolute bravo, Anna Riley. What an incredible piece of television. I hope they let you off at some point.
I thought they'd only do it once or twice. Bless her.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Now, cast your mind back 20 years to bin man turned X Factor star Andy Abraham. He is back and he's got a new single called Everything That You Do. Let's have a listen.
We're still in love and it feels so amazing. You make me feel there's nothing that I won't do. I want you. Yes, I do.
Well, the song is a collaboration with soul producer Benjamin Race, and it's out today, evidently.
Oh, well, Andy joins us now. It's great to see you. It's a fantastic tune. Why all this and why now?
Do you know, 20 years is a good time to team up with a fantastic producer. And, you know, Benjamin Race is a person that I was introduced to by Ricky Hanley. And so we come up with this tune and it's, yeah, everybody seems to be liking it. So that's the main thing. But 20 years since X Factor and all that craziness that I went through. So I figured, why not go back into it?
I can't believe it's 20 years, Andy. I mean, where has that time gone? So what have you been getting up to in the intervening period?
Oh God, I've been getting up to all sorts, to be honest, but I've still looked the same, obviously. Still bald. Yeah, I'm just loving life, just enjoying my time with my family. I've been touring, releasing albums. So yeah, I'm looking to release another album. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Is it a bit nerve-wracking, sort of, every time you release something, because it's all that pressure, isn't it, as to whether people are going to buy it, whether they're going to like it, whether they're going to stream it?
Well, the industry has changed so much, There isn't really a focal point anymore, like a Top of the Pops. There just seems to be so many different types of social media outlets, and yeah, it feels like there's a lot more work to be done, you know what I mean? But I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it either way. I just love writing songs and teaming up with fantastic producers like Benjamin, and yeah, hopefully it does really, really well.
Well, I hope it does, because it's a really good tune.
Good luck,
Andy,
Andy.
Great to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
Cheers, happy and bounty. Oh, lovely.
Great, fella.
Don't go anywhere. 9:30, Ben Leo and Nana Aquia, and you've got a cracking show coming up, I'm sure.
Well, listen, forget Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's Diane Abbott's hierarchy of racism. She's back again with the same old nonsense. We'll be talking about that.
Yep, lots more coming up included on top of that, but let's get your weather forecast before. See you in a sec.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Again today, quite a mix of weather. Hot with hazy sunshine across East Anglia and the southeast. Elsewhere, yes, some sunshine, but also some heavy downpours. A drab start for southwest Scotland, parts of West Wales with some rain and drizzle here, and then we'll see showers developing as we go through the morning. Some heavy ones this afternoon over Northern Ireland, perhaps western Scotland and also northeast England. And here we do have a Met Office thunderstorm warning in place. East Anglia in the southeast, only the small chance of catching a downpour. Generally, it's sunny here and hot, highs of 30 Celsius. Not as hot elsewhere, but still for many feeling quite humid. The southeast, as I say, has the chance of catching an afternoon downpour, but mostly set fair here, as it is across the southwest. Could just be fairly cloudy here. Some sunshine developing across Wales. It's northeast England where we've got the greatest risk of thunderstorms that could cause some disruption with large hail and hefty downpours of rain. Same goes for Northern Ireland. No warning here at the moment, but still some potentially very heavy showers coming through, and a scattering of showers likely across Scotland through the day, with maybe some along those easternmost coasts. The heavy showers over northeast England should fade, but then we look down to the south. We're importing further hefty downpours coming across the Channel, further thundery showers likely to develop through the early hours across the southeast as temperatures hold up maybe as high as 20 Celsius. A more comfortable night for sleeping further north and west, but still very humid air across these eastern counties, generating further thunderstorms on Saturday. Should be tracking northwards into parts of northern England, across the Midlands as well. The storms tomorrow could generate large hailstones, gusty wind, as well as the potential for flooding. Maybe getting into southern Scotland, parts of North Wales at times. Further west, many places will be dry. Temperatures not as high tomorrow. Still quite humid, though, with temperatures in the low 20s.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed Heat Pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Drivers on the M18 southbound in Doncaster should be aware of a broken down vehicle causing delays this morning. Traffic is expected to normalise at junction 2 within the hour. On the A12 northbound in Suffolk between junctions 32B and 33, delays occurred due to a collision with one lane closed. Westbound travellers on the A55 from junction 18 at Llandudno junction to junction 17 at Conwy Morpher face closures for roadworks. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast reports major disruption between Warrington Bank Quay and Crewe, and Northern reports issues at Sheffield with delays between Warrington Bank Quay and Chester. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Now imagine this. You spend your entire life dreaming of public service. You work your way up to become the Director of Public Prosecutions. You then become a Member of Parliament, and just next to your constituency is a world-famous museum hosting
I'm imagining it, Tom.
waxworks of famous figures, and you dream that one day you will be featured in this mausoleum, for want of a better word. You become Prime Minister, and you think, now, finally, my waxwork will be on display at the world-famous Madame Tussauds. And then they say no.
And then you find out that Theresa May has one.
Oh.
Yes, so Madame Tussauds... There's Theresa May. There she is in her suit.
Yeah,
she was always one for colourful outfits,
Theresa May has a waxwork there, so does Boris Johnson, of course. It's reasonable to expect the Prime Minister would have thought that he would join the likes of David Cameron, Theresa May and Boris Johnson with a waxwork.
Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
Winston Churchill has one. Harold Macmillan, apparently, was previously displayed. Tony Blair.
Of course.
Tony Blair, of course. But apparently, so Madame Tussauds can't be sure that he'll still be relevant in 5 years' time. That's the reason.
Is that why they've said it? No.
They can't be sure, so they don't want to put the money into it, presumably.
Wow.
I could imagine Keir Starmer commissioning his own.
And yet, Lord Salisbury had a waxwork, the Marquis of Salisbury.
He did.
Harold Macmillan,
Yeah,
David
apparently
Lloyd
so.
George, of course. But the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland...
Think about this.
...does not have a waxwork because he's not relevant.
A spokesperson told the Metro, "We have no current plans to make a figure of the British Prime Minister."
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good morning, it's 9:30 on Friday, July the 18th. Live across the UK, this is Britain's Newsroom with Ben Leo and Nana Akweer.
Good morning to you. Now, the ECHR Afghan support lawyers plan to use the ECHR rights laws to force the government